Hey everyone, welcome to Back Issues. I'm Tiffany.
I'm Ethan.
I'm Ben.
And we've all been cordially invited by the Omniversal Magistrix, Opal Luna Saturnine, to raise our swords in defense of Krakoa and, by extension, the Earth.
What if I don't have a sword?
Oh, you're supposed to get it?
Oh, shit. No.
We all got ours.
No, I got S words.
You got what?
S words, like suck and salacious.
No, that was swords.
That,
That's the word swords. It's not S words.
I have like 10 cases of Sprite in the car.
Okay, we don't need that. On this couch, we have covered the Hoxpox kickoff to Hickman's X-Men.
Yes.
We've chatted about Excalibur in preparation for Ten of Swords to begin.
Oh, yeah.
So we wanted to fill folk in on a book that not everyone was reading at the time and actually did inform. It mattered. It mattered in terms of like understanding some of what was going on in here. Really, all the books mattered, but like this one in particular really explained the setting for this book for sure. This book takes place during the Dawn of X period, which followed Hox and Pox.
Okay.
We're in the docks.
Who determines what these periods of time are?
Jonathan Hickman does.
Oh, okay.
Jonathan Hickman.
So do the characters know that they're in various periods?
I mean, they're in their own things, I guess. I don't know.
We're in a period right now where it's like, oh, almost post-COVID.
Right.
Right.
And like no one says like it's a period, but we're still in it.
Yeah,
so just like them.
Perhaps we have our own Jonathan Hickman someplace far off writing,
writing
our
our story.
stories.
Oh.
I hope we get cool logos.
Oh, me too. The reason I'm also not giving you like a writer is because this was an event. This is an event book.
Right.
Right? This is massive.
Covers multiple titles, I assume?
This goes across every single X book that was coming out at the time.
Okay.
Now, we're telling this story pre-Hellfire Gala for future audiences. So I don't know what happened at this point in the Hellfire Gala.
Oh.
The Hellfire Gala is the next X event.
You know it's going to happen.
I know that it's literally coming up this summer.
Okay.
Again, because of the fact that it goes across all the books, none of these are tie-ins. Some people might say, yeah, sure they were, because like, you know, there's like the Ten of Swords title that comes out. There's 3 Ten of Swords titles.
And
then
if you just read those titles, you'll have no idea what's going on.
literally, that's just garbage. That's not anything.
Yeah.
Because if you look at the books and the individual covers for the issues, it's Ten of Swords Part 1, Part 2. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
it's not a tie-in.
All right, so
This is
really
where the book goes.
Yes, the story across all the titles.
Yes, across the 22 parts of this story.
Jeez.
Damn.
Now, when this book came out, it was, the timeline, I believe, was a little condensed due to COVID. And like Marvel took a little bit of, it's a hefty book.
Expensive.
Oh, it's also expensive. It's a hardcover.
Yeah, it's a hard cover.
But it was a little compressed. And so for a lot of people, this was a rough event to get through because oftentimes each week, 3 titles were coming out.
Oh, jeez.
Like 3 parts.
Right. It was supposed to be.
Right.
So they wrote the same number of books, but it was supposed to be spread out over
Seemingly
a
that
wider
kind of
time,
feels like what it
maybe.
might have been. Also, right before this event comes out, like there's like maybe one issue of like the regular X-Men like title, like just the X-Men title,
Right.
in between this and Empire. That crappy summer event they did with trees.
Right,
The
the
tree
tree
people.
event.
Like X-Men had 2 tie-ins to that. So they were dealing with that, but like Hickman's also slapping stuff in leading up to Ten of Swords. So some folk might have had a bit of event fatigue as well. Not everyone really bought into Empire, but then to be like, hey, you're going to need to buy a lot of books to keep up with this
Right.
was a big ask.
Yeah.
It was a big ask for folk, especially during COVID,
Yeah.
when people didn't have jobs. You know what I mean? Like, it was a big ask.
Yeah.
That
But
said,
if you did have a job, you also had a lot of downtime to read, hopefully.
oh, for sure. That said, I love this event.
Ah.
I loved this event when it was happening. I loved this event more when I reread it.
Okay.
You read that twice?
I read this twice. So I read it every week
you
when
had
it
to
came
prepare for
out.
this episode.
I did. I read this event when it came out, as it was coming out, and we talked about it and reviewed it on Off the Rack. And then this book took a really long time to come out. Like, it got pushed back, like months at a time. It would be like, it's coming out now.
I mean,
Wait, no. It's coming out now. Wait, no. It's coming out now.
Maybe.
And eventually it showed up.
Is that COVID as well?
We don't know.
With the printing process,
I don't know. So Ten of Swords. It is pronounced Ten of Swords. It's not X of Swords, even though everything else having to do with the X-Men is X. And the reason it's Ten of Swords is because it ties into the tarot.
Right.
Okay.
I remember that coming up. Yeah.
Yeah, which is why we talked about Excalibur, and I went into a little bit because we had, at the time we did Excalibur, we were just launching into this. We hadn't even started this yet. So like,
Are there going to be events named for all the tarot cards that were important?
No. I mean, like, here's the thing. Remember at the beginning of Hawks and Pox, tarot cards played a role there as well. We saw like tarot cards of like future things, right? And so then we see tarot cards again. I think they just like the idea of the tarot cards and like tying the mutants into like magic and mysticism as well. And in particular with the characters they're dealing with, it totally works here. Totally works here and is totally dope and fun. And regardless of what happens with the idea of the tarot deck in terms of mutant lore, this is great.
Okay.
So, needless to say, this story opens in a place that I thought was interesting because you're missing like a couple of little bits of story, but like it wouldn't have made any sense to put those issues into this book. It just wouldn't have made any sense because like early on in the dawn of X, a random little island or like shows up on Earth and it's like near South Korea. And it starts making a beeline for Krakoa, and Krakoa starts making a beeline for it.
Okay.
Because Krakoa can move because it's a being.
Right, it's a living thing.
I assume this other island is a being?
Yeah. So like
Yeah.
when the two meet, a like small contingent goes over there where they find that there are like monsters and like this all white dude
Okay.
named
Dracula?
Summoner. Dracula. No, Dracula exists in the Marvel Universe, and this ain't him. And Krakoa and that little island actually join, like in a weird sexual way.
Right. I assumed that's where it was going because
Yeah.
it's Krakoa.
It's Krakoa, so
yeah.
it's got to be sexy. Then during Empire, there's like a couple of pages of one of the tie-in books which deals with this Summoner character, this all white guy.
Is he wearing pants?
No.
All right, tasteful.
In which he is sitting in front of like a tree stump in the woods, and a couple of mutants, Roxide, Loa, and a Knoll from Krakoa go over there, and they're like, like a Knoll's like, I saw this guy here, and he was just sitting there like staring at me, but I was hidden, but like it's like he was looking at me and he knew I was there. So like they go back to see him, right? And like they're like, are you playing a game? Like, can we play? And he's like, yeah, no, I'm playing a game. It's totally cool. Like, it's a game I used to play when I was a kid, but like, it's not a game for children. Oh. But like, you can play it with one, but two is better. So Rockslide, who's like an all rock dude, is like, I'll play whatever. He grabs a piece. It turns into like a little version of him and puts it on the board. Ooh. And it's like, Summoner explains that this game is about finding your opponent's weaknesses. And you're like, okay. And like once you start the game, you can't stop it. I'm like, Jumanji?
Oh no!
Do you hear the drums? So that's the only part you missed. You missed A, weird random little island thing,
right,
where this guy comes from, and B, these characters are playing a game.
Okay.
All right.
There's also a volcano that's active.
Krakoa has many volcanoes.
There's a lot going on in Krakoa.
There's a lot happening. Also, we have to talk about the fact that Apocalypse has done something in between Excalibur and this.
Okay.
That's furthering his plans.
Right.
Okay. His evil plans.
His machinations.
Okay.
So
are they not evil?
Like yes and no?
I mean, it depends on your perspective, perhaps.
Like yes and no?
Like I remember at the end of Excalibur, because he was like a good guy the whole time,
Yeah.
and then like you find out he's doing some dubious shit.
Well, yeah, I mean that's Apocalypse constantly.
Right.
He's always doing something dubious, but like, is it really?
Right.
I mean, yeah. Rockslide is actually like a dude all made of rock, but he's actually not a dude at all. He's like a psionic being of some sort, like an energy being, and like he's able to control this like rock-like golem thing. So he's like kind of within it. It's like a mech suit of rocks.
Could he have like other suits that he like goes into and controls?
I think it's specifically
or he's just
rocks.
Stuck in this one?
I think it's rocks for sure. So Apocalypse shows up and is like, kids, bail, get out. I gotta talk to this dude.
Talk to this weirdo guy. Okay.
He's like, I gotta talk, and then
I gotta find out what my weakness is so I can eliminate it.
right? No, Summoner's like, is it time to talk, grandfather? And he's like, you bet it is, kiddo.
Oh.
And you're like, well, what?
What? Is Apocalypse known to have children?
So yeah, like Apocalypse has like some like kids kind of, but like seemingly like Apocalypse is
adopted,
like,
right?
Well, kind of. I mean, like there's like this little kid, like I think it's Kid Apocalypse, is named like Evan Sabanur, and like he's like a kid of his, but also just kind of like a genetic clone. So like you decide what you want.
Mini Apocalypse.
Yeah.
Okay.
Listen, the fact is, it's like Apocalypse calls all mutants his children, right? But like.
But this,
But
this
he
is
could he have real kid?
grandchild or
What?
something. All right.
Or this guy is just playing into it, being like, all right, grandfather, I'll play your game.
Yeah. Or he's like being insulting. He's like, all right, Grandpa,
Whatever, grandpa.
should I get off your lawn? And Apocalypse is like, dude, I opened the external gate like we talked about. Let's get going here. And you're like, if you had been reading Excalibur, you know that the external gate is something that Apocalypse did in fact open up, utilizing his knowledge from working with Excalibur, and like how like there are these crystals that can hold like mystical energy from like years ago, and like that's actually in Apocalypse's bones because he's an external.
Yeah.
But there are other externals, of course, and all externals have like share the gift of like immortality and long life, but they also share the gift of like being able to talk with each other. So he summoned all the externals to him, and then he simultaneously released Richter, who was like stuck underground for specific reasons Apocalypse needed him to, and then they like it killed 4 of the externals and then kept the other ones alive, in which they used their bones and created the external gate, which opened a gate directly into Otherworld.
Right.
Now, there's technically a gate that goes into Otherworld. It's over in Avalon, but there's a reason, and we'll get to that, why he did that, right?
Okay.
Summoner then tells us a story about Okara. Okara was the land of Krakoa and Arakko when they were brought together. Okara is where Apocalypse and his family lived back in the day, until a demon army burst from the ground, wielding the Twilight Blade, split it in twain, and the shit would hit the fan.
So Krakoa was essentially a one island along with the other, and then it got rended in half.
Yeah. And that was called Okara. If you take all the words, Arakko and Krakoa both spell out Okara, so yeah. The demons came from a realm called Amenth, and the fact was they weren't going to stop. And so the only way to stop them was to destroy the rift and to protect it by sending a contingent of mutants from Okara, now Krakoa, into the rift and protect it.
Okay.
Like into the rift to stay?
Oh, you're staying, baby. Like, you go through, you're not coming back.
Got it.
Okay. To like keep it, like
At bay.
keep other people from coming in.
Yep.
Like for all time.
Yep.
So like they're still in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so, who was selected to go? Why, Apocalypse's wife and 4 children, along with many other
Oh.
mutants.
Oh, legit kids.
Yeah.
And wife?
Yeah. And like there's like summoners, like there are many rumors as to why the Great Apocalypse himself didn't go, some of which state that he, wanted to save himself, essentially.
that would be a logical
But there's many a rumor about that, right? And so they go through the rift, out of all of the mutants who came through, 10% of them, as the rift closed, they went crazy and they ran off into the Amenth wastelands.
Oh. Okay.
When Krakoa split and this rift was there, Arakko, that piece of it, went into the rift as well. So like there's
Okay.
Arakko and then Amenth. And so these guys just ran. They just ran through Arakko to wherever and were never seen again.
Okay.
Prior to this contingent going through, a mutant of the times of Okara named the White Sword and his 100 champions went through, and so when they got on the other side, they saw their work. Like, they killed many a demon, but were nowhere to be found. Apocalypse's wife and everyone else there did manage to build some sort of civilization. They built these like crazy ass towers that like shoots green energy at the demons as they come up. They built families. They survive. They have a council. It looks very similar to something that we've seen in Hox, Pox, and Dox, which is like a room full of people who are ruling over these lands of Arakko, and a living version of the island's face there.
Okay.
Right?
How many people are we talking about here? You said there's like a civilization, so there's like thousands of them?
I believe it was thousands that went through.
Okay.
Like many thousands.
All right. I was trying to figure out, like, what are they ruling? Are they ruling the demons?
No. Like there was quite a number who went through
Okay.
to
Yeah, they're
do this.
defending.
Okay.
This is all good and fine until one day one of their great like seers comes forth who had like blinded themselves with the vision they saw of their defeat. And they were like, that's not possible. So Apocalypse's wife...
But we're badass.
Yeah, we're dope and amazing. I don't know if you saw us. Apocalypse's wife, whose name is Genesis, says like, screw that. She gets a small like mini army and rides out. And it's like, we'll face it head on. Cool, whatevs. And they go out there and
Face what?
like the demons
The
of
vision.
Amenth, because they're like, no, we won't even let them get here.
Oh, I
Screw
see.
that.
Right,
So they
okay.
go out there, they're slaughtering left and right, and then they come across like this great tower, and that's where the white sword is. The white sword's power is that he can resurrect an individual, and when he resurrects them, they're conscripted into his army. And so he and his 100 like soldiers went out there, right? And each day they ride out to battle, and each night they all die except for him. And then he brings them all back, and they do it over and over and over and over again. And this has become kind of like a religion for him, and it kind of made him crazy.
Yeah.
Kind of like what they're doing on Krakoa right now.
Right.
You
they're
have
bringing
a
people
mutant
back.
civilization that can't die.
Yeah. Oh, we'll just grow them again in a pod.
Yeah, it's
Fine.
cool. Don't worry about it. It's totally fine.
But I decide who comes back in the pod, though.
Yep. The white sword hands Genesis her first defeat.
Oh.
He's like, you suck.
I thought they were teaming up, but they faced off against each
Oh,
other.
they faced off for sure.
So he's with the demons?
Nope, he's all on his own.
Oh.
He's just crazy.
Okay. Did he go with them over, or was he already there?
He went there first.
Oh, so
They sent him first.
Oh, so they were the
okay.
ones who went over and saw his work.
yeah.
got it.
His big X's in the field with like demon bodies everywhere.
Right, okay.
Genesis returns home with a few of those who went out with her. The next big thing happens, and Genesis's own sister comes to their doors. And in doing so is the harbinger of the end. Because Genesis's sister's name is Iska the Unbeaten. Because Iska's power is she cannot lose. And so if Iska has turned from you, it means you are to lose.
So if Iska and the unbeatable Squirrel Girl face off against each other, the entire universe is going to explode.
Later on, there's a question of what would happen if Iska and Domino faced off. And Iska's like, your friend would lose. Because Iska doesn't lose.
And does Iska not lose because she just like leaves whenever she's about to?
Yeah. It's
not really a power.
She knows. You'll see her later on doing some things, and it's like she does have a certain power, but in a fight like this, she knows which side will win.
Oh. Okay.
And so she turns. And so Genesis and Iska go to the fortress of Amenth. And like Summoner's like, I don't know what it was like when she was there. But Genesis faced against Annihilation. And Annihilation is this like berobed individual with this crazy mask, and they fight. And then after that, after like Genesis' defeat, the Amenthi army comes and destroys their towers of like the defensive towers that they had.
right.
In a last-ditch effort, they send Summoner on a piece of Araco through a gate that they were able to open up and shoot him through to get Apocalypse. Because the idea was Apocalypse was supposed to come and save them at some point.
Okay.
He was supposed to help mutantdom get stronger, get good, if you will, to go over there and save the mutants who had gone over to save the world.
Right. Like he was like,
Never-
okay, I'll build up our forces over here.
He
and
never
then-
quite did that, right?
Well, I got busy doing stuff.
Is
I
this like
did
this
stuff.
just happened, or did this happen in the
No, this
long
is like
ago,
this history.
This
in the
is
before
thousands
time?
of
Okay.
years. Thousands of years, right?
Okay.
Apocalypse is like, cool. Hey, Summoner, I'm going to send you back through because I want you to basically prepare for my arrival. So I'm going to send you back through the external gate. You go through Otherworld, back to Araco, and you tell them I'm coming. And hell's
Also-
coming with me.
I have to find a lot of presents to give my wife because I've been gone a long time.
Well, she's not there.
What?
Genesis went and fought
Yeah, she's like
Annihilation.
dead or whatever, right?
And when I send you through, I'm going to send you with Banshee and Unis. And Unis is like the untouchable. He's got this shield thing around him, right? And he's like, so you head off and I'll be there soon, right? Cool, whatevs.
Wait, Banshee like our Banshee?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
our Banshee.
Oh, so this is happening now.
Yeah, he's like, take them back through, escort them. We come back. We're done with that flashback.
So, why is Summoner coming through just now?
Well, he came through. He's been waiting, and don't forget, Empire happened and a
Yeah.
bunch of other things, and Apocalypse was doing things And he needed, I believe he does talk to them at some point, but he needed to get the external gate going. And so he was trying to finish up his studies with Excalibur before doing that, because he couldn't do anything unless he could open the external gate.
Okay, but when you say this happened thousands of years ago, you mean they first went over thousands of
Yeah,
years
this-
ago, but
this-
they were fighting for thousands of years and they
this-
just lost.
Yeah, they didn't just
yesterday.
lose.
Oh.
Presumably, there's been some time.
Okay.
So,
Okay, but if they lost, doesn't that mean that like people are gonna start coming through, like
I
demons and
assume-
stuff?
so
That's
the,
what the towers were for, right?
the
Was to-
external, well, they'd have to be able to get through the rift, seemingly, right? And the rift right now doesn't open directly here. It opens into like Otherworld.
Oh, okay.
So there's like a buffer.
Okay, so Otherworld is like under threat because
Yeah.
Genesis's people lost.
Yeah. We see the army of Amenth under the control of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse.
Being Egyptian
Well,
figures.
yeah. I mean, but that's death, and that's famine, and that's pestilence, and that's war, right? And you see them in Dryador, which is a kingdom in Otherworld, which is kind of where the rift opened up, and they're like, destroy it. Destroy the fish people, because that's what they are.
Is that a friggin' pterodactyl?
The fish people that ride dinosaurs. Listen, you're in Otherworld, it's best not to question.
Okay.
Hey, they're fish people, but they live above the water with bubbles over their heads.
Yeah. So whatevs.
Because they don't have pterodactyls underwater, Ethan.
Duh.
Yeah. No, that goes without saying, I guess.
Needless to say, this one dude, the guy in the pterodactyl, does get out. He gets pierced by Pestilence's arrow, so he's going to die. No one can touch him because he's going to share the disease. And so he goes to Saturnine to warn her.
Right.
Saturnine ruling over all of Otherworld, the hub of all the multiverses.
Right.
Right? Like the Starlight Citadel has all these doors to multiverses. They've all been shut because the Captain Britain Corps was destroyed during the incursions. And now she guards it with her priestesses as best as she can. But this is the, if the multiverse was a wagon wheel, this is the center of it.
Okay.
Right? And so she's like, okay, we got to go do something crazy. So she sends her guards and trusted advisors, this fish lady and this minotaur. They go off, and essentially they need to get a super secret, awesome tarot deck. And that tarot deck allows Saturnine to see what's coming. And she does a reading in which we get some dope cards that show us specific characters that we all know and love, and some other ones we don't know so well.
Okay.
And the final card that she draws is the Ten of Swords. The Ten of Swords is not necessarily the best card you could pull. It's kind of an omen, a warning. On Earth, the mutant Tarot, who has the ability to see the future, therefore is not welcome on Krakoa, because no mutant who can prognosticate is allowed to come on Krakoa.
Right.
Thanks to Moira.
Right.
She pulls the exact same reading that Saturnine's pulling. And
the
she's
same
like,
exact cards.
the exact same cards. And then she's like, and these cards want to be heard because I put them back and shuffled and pulled the same ones. I don't know
this
who
is
this
a legit fortune.
Yeah, it's I don't know who these are for, but I'm telling you, this is what I got.
I'd love it if Tarot had an entirely different deck. She was like, these aren't my cards. These cards don't go
they
in my
even get
deck,
in there?
and they still keep
They're
coming out.
really big. She's like, this is what? I don't understand. But the idea behind the Ten of Swords card is it's always darkest before the dawn kind of thing. Right? Cool.
So it's going to get real bad.
It's going to get real bad.
Right.
Meanwhile, back on Krakoa,
Wait, this is the dawn. This is
we're
the
in
dawn
of X.
Of X.
Yeah.
Right? Well, we're redawning then. Back on Krakoa, out of the external gate comes this Cthulhu monster with Summoner cradling Banshee, and he's just like, he's dying!
What?
And you're like, what the hell happened? So they take Banshee to the Healing Gardens. Meanwhile, Summoner has to go before the Quiet Council, who are all like, Apocalypse, you're doing a lot of stuff here, man.
Yeah, what is going on?
Apocalypse is like, okay, so here's the thing. I constructed the external gate to Otherworld so that we could get to Araco so I could get to my family. And while they were over there, they got attacked by the Amenth armies, and they took Unis, so he's stuck over there right now, so we need to go back through.
It's okay. He's in a bubble, though.
Well, he's not. They got him, right? And so then,
Oh.
some of the mutants on the Quiet Council are like, could you explain to me the difference between the gates that we have and your external gate? And he's like, well, so the thing about the external gate is it's not exactly under Krakoa's control like all the other gates. And it doesn't exactly close. And in fact, I'm not even sure if just mutants can go through it. So they're like, this thing's gotta go now. Like,
Right.
if anything can come through it that isn't a mutant and Krakoa doesn't have control over it, cut it off.
Why did he build it or open it?
Because he's like, I need to.
It's like the best way
I need to
there?
get.
It's mine.
I need to get some big shit through, and I need to have control over it.
Okay.
And as they're like, we gotta take this thing down, Krakoa speaks, and Cypher's like, yeah, Krakoa says it has to stay open. Professor X is like, would you mind maybe reconsidering what you're saying here? And he's like, nope. So Apocalypse is like, don't worry, I'm gonna go through. I'll ask.
See, Krakoa's got my back. It's fine.
Yeah.
So Apocalypse is in charge now. Like, Professor X is just like,
Well, Krakoa's really in charge.
yeah, but Apocalypse seems to be like in tune with Krakoa.
Kind of.
More so
yes.
than the X-Men right now.
Yes. So so Apocalypse is like, listen, I'll ask for some volunteers. We'll go over there. We'll try to save Unis, and we'll take a look to see what's on the other side, right?
Mm-hmm.
We have Havoc and Polaris. Rockslide's going. Summoner's gonna go. Monet will go.
Not Rockslide. He's got a weakness. We just found this out.
Well, he's like, no, I'm bros with Summoner, so I'll go. Why not? Whatevs. Polaris goes because Magneto's like, someone from the House of M has to go.
Okay.
a representative.
Yeah.
Right.
So she's got to go, and then Archangel's gonna go in his Archangel costume. Beast is also gonna go. Fox is like, hey, it's nice to see you looking like that, Warren. Like the way I made you, right? We get this dope map. This map will become kind of important just to understand, for the most part, how this whole thing works, right? This you don't have to worry about so much. This is the center of this is the Starlight Citadel, right?
Okay.
So it's like that's important. You need to know that. And this here, right here, number 8, right at the center, that's the external gate. So it's like right underneath the Starlight Citadel. So Saturnines really not happy about that. Because like Apocalypse basically didn't follow any protocol and just did what he wanted because he's Apocalypse. And Saturnite's like, you're a dick. And I'm like, you are too, lady. These are the kingdoms of the fair and foul kingdoms that surround the Starlight Citadel. This is Avalon, where King Jamie Braddock rules currently.
Okay.
So therefore, this is our gate, Krakoa, and Earth. On this side, this is the kingdom of Dryador, the Rift, Araco, and Amenth.
Okay.
So this is, you just got to understand like this, right?
Okay.
Okay.
Rachel and Cable want to know more about what happened, so they use their psychic abilities to go into Banshee's mind, and they get to see what actually happened over there while our team goes through the gate. Upon getting there, they see the Starlight Citadel is, in fact, under attack by Amenthi demons. They see Unis is, in fact, a prisoner, so everything's really lining up. And then Apocalypse looks like slightly over there, and it's like, And they're like, do you know them? And he's like, those are my sons and daughters. He's like, hold on, I'll go say hi.
I mean, I know them, but I'm starting to feel like I don't know them
I'm
anymore.
starting to think, maybe I don't. So he does go over there and he has a conversation with them. They're like, oh, hey, Dad, what's up?
It's been a while.
It's been a while. Did you forget about us?
I mean, no.
Because, like, we survived for quite a while, and I got to tell you, the one thing we didn't survive on was love, Dad.
Okay.
While they're
I
having
mean,
that.
you all look baller, I'll say that much.
I mean,
so
you look fit.
Clearly the genes have done their job.
Right? And they're like, he's like, where is your mother? And they're like, she's dead, Dad.
Yeah, you weren't here and she died.
So, in Banshee's mind, they see Summoner go out to meet the Amenthi demons, right? And like,
Yeah, having a parlay.
yeah, and then he turns and looks back and like is clearly with them.
Oh.
And then while that happens, War stabs Apocalypse through the chest. Oh, Siren also goes because she wants like revenge for Banshee. So then Siren screams, trying to get him off, right?
Right.
Summoner stabs him in the back.
Oh, jeez.
So like he gets double stabbed. Double stabbed, right?
Never a good thing.
As Rachel and Nate are like going further and watching this all break out, they get kicked out by Saturnine.
Oh.
Saturnine's like, no, not yet. But she tells Nate something. So they get kicked out, and like Rachel's like, you got to go tell Mom and Dad right now. So he goes up to the moon. He talks to Mom and Dad.
Yeah.
Their interaction is really well done because it's like one of these like speech bubbles where it's like, listen, this lady told me all this stuff, and our team's really in trouble, but like she told me I have to go find this thing, so we got to go find this thing. And they're like, okay. And so they go and do that.
Oh, someone told you have to get it. Okay.
Yeah. Well, Jean uses her powers and like like shows Scott everything she's seeing from Nate's mind. She's like,
Right.
yeah, all right, let's
It
go do
seems
that.
important, I guess we
Yeah,
should.
but-
Yeah, why not?
He's not lying.
All hell breaks loose out in Otherworld. Mutants are dying. Rockslide is cleaved in half by Summoner. Richter is shot by one of Pestilence's arrows as they're trying to drag Apocalypse off the field of battle. The other mutants are trying to fight and hold them back. So Polaris and Havoc are staying on the field of battle to keep it clear, whilst the others try to escape with their wounded. And then Monet tries to communicate with Saturnine by getting big and using her psychic powers to be like, listen, bitch, why don't you get your ass down here and do something instead of just watching us?
Right.
Saturnine's like, be gone. Not yet.
You think Apocalypse has I have machinations. I'm Saturnine.
Not only does she have that, in fact, that word will be used later on. There's so many machinations going on in this book. You don't even know. It's like she's got machinations, he's got machinations, the tarot deck has machinations. Like, it's just this whole thing, right?
So she's not acting like she's about to be overwhelmed by these.
She is like cool as a cucumber.
She's playing the long game.
She has no fear. She has a ridiculous amount of power, and she's already seen the tarot. She knows how this is going down.
Oh, okay.
She knows, right?
And she's okay with how this is going to play out on the tarot deck.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
The reason she ends up getting involved is because Monet's like, hey, Polaris, you know your like cool, dope metal powers? I bet that Citadel's made out of metal. So Polaris starts pulling it down. So Saturnine like, okay. And she freezes time.
How about everybody just chill?
Yeah, just everybody relax. And essentially she's like, let's have a parlay. Because you guys killed everybody in Dryador, and thus, as their conquerors, you now are the regents of Dryador. And so, honestly,
Oh no, not Necromonger rule!
yeah, well, and she's like, so honestly, actually, you have to follow what I say. And if you have an issue here, you've got to let me know what it is. And they're like, we want to go to Earth and destroy it and you know, burn everything to the ground, including this place. She's like, all
You're
right.
on the way, so yeah.
So then she makes Death a little boy, just proving how powerful she is. She's like, now you biddy. You chibi size. It's convenient for travel. So she's like, are you willing to fight for this? They're like, yeah. And in any like realm of combat, in any arena you choose, we'll be there. And she's like, okay, cool. How about you, Krakoans? Are you down for that? Would you like to fight?
I mean, not with our current roster. I feel like we could use a couple more powerhouses.
Yeah, Polaris is like, we don't really have a choice. She's like, that's right.
Nah.
That's right.
Yet.
So then she summons the tarot deck, and you see Pestilence and Polaris suddenly just start rattling off names.
Oh, like they're
people?
building a team.
Not of people, of swords.
Oh.
What?
They start rattling off swords. So for Krakoa, it's like Muramasa, the Sword of Might, the Starlight Sword, the Sword of Galador, Skybreaker, the Soul Sword.
Can you just make up swords, or are these just swords?
No.
Narsil.
No. Like your names are any less made up than these names.
I was wondering, can they summon mythical, fictitious swords from Earth's literature?
Technically, the Muramasa blade is like kind of like a real thing. So.
Yeah,
Anyway.
okay.
So anyway, she's like, these 10 swords, you've got like 3 days, go collect them and the people who are meant to wield them and meet back here, else you forfeit.
Okay, so Saturnine is basically saying, like, we're going to decide this
Yep.
in, like, combat between a few people.
Yep. And she's like, and when you get back here, you must be prepared to raise your swords. Meanwhile, the Summers family, essentially, what they had to go find was the spaceship sword. Well, the spaceship for sword, the organization.
Right.
I was going to say, couldn't it just... Yeah,
Our
couldn't it just
sword
get
is
sword?
like thousands of people in a spaceship.
It's totally
Can
cool.
we take sword?
Can we take that? That one wasn't listed. That wasn't. I didn't see that one listed. But you told us to go find this. So you're like, why did you tell us to go find this? It doesn't matter because we're gonna keep moving on.
Okay.
Apocalypse, Rockslide, Richter are brought back. They end up destroying the external gate.
Okay.
I thought Krakoa was like, no, keep it open.
No, I believe that Saturnine destroys it, so they don't like. It's not anyone's decision to do so. She's like, oh no, you don't get to just come in and out.
Right.
No.
This is my house.
Yeah, you're like under my house. I barely put up with you having one in Avalon. Screw you.
Right.
So she destroys that.
Why did she wait till now to destroy it? She could have destroyed it at any time, right?
Well, because if you know about how this was all supposed to go down and you were Saturnine and you know that you might get something you want out of this, you're going to let
Right.
this go down.
Right. Okay. So she like wanted Apocalypse
She,
and then
trust
to come
me,
through.
everything she does for a very specific reason.
Okay.
If it's not to service the tarot reading and further her own plans, it's to dick over someone she doesn't like.
Right. I mean, I guess Apocalypse did get stabbed as a result of coming through there. So
All right.
maybe that was part
Fair.
of the plan.
She's got to get this rolling, and she lets it happen until, like, you know, when Starlight Citadel starts coming down, she's like, okay, that's when I get involved.
Right.
They know that Polaris has the prophecy in her head of who the sword wielders are. And so, like, the psychics are trying to get in there, and every time they do, there's, like, a failsafe of Saturn who kicks them out.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no, that's not how this you find out.
Right. That's
But they're, like, running out of time
But
here,
we have
right?
to find them.
We have 3 days.
I thought, is this a thing where like we're supposed to fail?
Richter and Apocalypse are dying. Richter is going to die, but they also need to like not slow down the resurrection protocol because they're going to need Apocalypse to come back. But Apocalypse is like, let him die, bring him back that way, and I'll just fight through it. It'll be fine, right? Richter dies, and they're going to resurrect him. Cool. They also are going to resurrect Rockslide. Rockslide comes back. Professor X shows up, gives Richter his memories back. They're like, hey, welcome back, man. And then he goes to give Rockslide his memories back. And then he freaks out, and you see all of the Cerebro backups short circuit for a moment.
Oh.
And they're like, what the hell was that? And then Rockslide is standing there, and he just keeps saying, like, I feel fine, but like something's wrong with him. And then he just crumbles.
Oh.
What?
And then, like, the 5 are like, okay, something's wrong with the eggs. Destroy the eggs. Because Professor X is unconscious, so he's not in charge of shit right now.
Right.
And, like, they can't communicate with each other, and they've been living in a hive mind, so they go panic mode.
Oh,
and they
jeez.
torch all the eggs.
Right, because I think they were like infected or something.
Yep. Professor X wakes up. He's like, please tell me you didn't destroy all the eggs.
Hey.
Right?
I know I fell unconscious, but
But, like, that was not the move.
you didn't jump to conclusions and like jump off the rails, did you?
You're a mind reader.
That would be a violation.
I don't even need to read
Why
your
don't you just
mind.
tell
I can
me?
read your face.
Yeah. And there's smoke everywhere. They're like, Rockslide came back wrong.
Right.
And they look over, and Rockslide has reformed himself, but he looks totally different than he did before.
Oh, we got a costume change.
And he's like thinner and smaller. And then, like,
I want to be cut.
right? Here's what we find out. So I'm just gonna skip all of this, right? Here's what we find out. If you die in Otherworld, you come back wrong. Because you died in the hub of the multiverse. And so when they try to give you back your memories, the multiverse overwrites it. And essentially, all these little pieces of multiversal versions of Rockslide came through and overwrote all of Cerebro's backups, and that's what's in him. So he is wrong.
But
So
he's still here.
Yeah, technically, but the Santos, which is his real name, or Santo that they knew, is gone
Right.
forever.
Some
All right. So it's
like
So-
alternate universe.
it's like a
version of
death,
him?
but not a death.
Oh, but it's a total death because it's like he's also like he doesn't talk correctly and he doesn't know how to do anything.
So he's like a baby.
So he's making noise. You don't know what to do. Don't forget now, we are about to send 10 people over
Right.
for a fight to the death.
And we just found out that we can't.
Yeah.
bring
And
it
you
back.
can't come back.
Yeah.
All right. Higher stakes. Cool.
All right? Bam. Increase those stakes. Meanwhile, at the Quiet Council, Magneto's like, Polaris, you gotta tell us what the prophecy is. She's like, Dad, I can't. He's like, you gotta tell us. You stupid girl. You suck, and I hate you. And then all of a sudden, like, because he's being an asshole to her, she triggers the prophecy. And we get the rundown of everybody who's gonna be involved via poetic prophecy.
There, I knew
language.
it would work.
Yeah, he's like,
I just had to yell at you a lot.
he's like, I knew it. I'm not a bad
I'm
dad.
a great dad.
Take that, Ultron 8. But it's not enough that we have the prophecies and we have the names of the swords. There's something more that we need, and we need this like dope-looking summoning circle. And so what she does is she collects the leftover pieces of Rockslide, and like as though she's like driven by something else, she forms it into this thing.
Okay.
And they're like, okay, creepy.
Creepy, but at the same time, like he's a multiversal rock slide. Maybe part of the multiverse is influencing her.
No, that was Rockslide's body because they made that there. They made Rockslide's body on Krakoa. They didn't bring the other pieces back. The multiversal Rockslide drew out the pieces it wanted and left the rest back. And so she just took the other pieces.
Took the garbage pieces.
She took the remnants of the thing they thought was
rejected
Rockslide. And
She took the Danny DeVito.
yeah. The first sword wielder shows up, and it's magic, of course, because she's like, it's my sword.
A, sword. B, hot.
Well,
C, magic.
Yeah. She's like, I'm also one of the captains of Krakoa, so I'm going. But one of her swords, the sword that she wields, the soul sword, was mentioned. So, and no one else wields it. They can use it, but not like she can.
Okay.
The next few chapters are going to be us getting our swords.
Yep.
2 of the books are going to be about Wolverine.
I got 6 swords right here.
What do I need a sword for? No, Wolverine knows that he has to go find the Muramasa blade, so you get a really dope story about Wolverine going to Japan to go find the Muramasa blade. He has a run-in with Silver Samurai, who's like, bitch, this is the thing about swords. I'm not invited.
This sword's like my thing.
What's the point of me, and why should I even help you?
Also, wasn't Wolverine also... Didn't he already encounter the Muramasa blade in Wolverine?
Well, the Muramasa blade was destroyed. And so he's got to go find Muramasa to make a new Muramasa.
one.
Because that Muramasa blade was made out of Wolverine's soul. He's like, I need a new Muramasa blade. They made it into bullets. It's just a pile of bullets now. So he goes off on his merry adventure. He talks to a whole bunch of people from classic Wolverine's past. You know what I mean? You run into all kinds of things.
Fun Wolverine story.
Yeah, it's a fun Wolverine story, but it's not just a Wolverine story, which is why we're talking about it. Because on the other side, on Araco, they're doing the same thing.
Right.
They got to find their swords, and they got to find their sword wielders. One of which is a guy named Solemn, and Solemn's a dick.
Is Araco just completely like a hellscape, everywhere? It's just like this.
I mean, I think in the
There's just
interior
rocks and-
where the Araco tree being is, it's a little better, but a lot of it's
okay.
just rocks. This is in particular, this is a prison, because Solemn.
You need a prison on Araco? How bad do you have to be to live in there?
Okay, so
That's where the good people go.
You would have had to have your mutant power not only be that you have adamantium skin, but you're also beautiful and can have anyone you want. Adamantium infused skin. It's just a thing. He's kind of like Shizor in the way that he can have anyone he wants. And you would have had to seduce War's husband into loving you, and then destroyed him emotionally, so much so that he ended up dying, and then War put you in there.
That's
That's
the only
what
person
you'd
who's in
have
there?
to
That's
do.
soap opera level of intricate.
That's what you'd have to do. Also, in theory, Solemn really wants to bang War, and War's like, go fuck yourself. I hate you. But death's too good for you. He lives here in creature comfort though, because he just seduces everyone around him, right?
Hey, bring me some wine.
Here's the thing.
Come on.
Yeah, well, they gave him a blade, or War gave him a blade, and the idea was that if you killed yourself with it, I think it sends you to hell. Which, how could it be worse? But I mean, he's doing fine here.
Right.
To use, and they're like, listen, we need you to be the sword wielder. And he's like, I have a blade. And they're like, no, you got to go find the Muramasa blade. So go do that. So he goes to there as well. Well, he's going to get there. Inevitably, he finds an old crone in a cave who explains to him that he has a key to hell. It's the knife that War gave him to kill himself with, hoping that he would damn himself. And he shoves it into the cave wall, and it opens a doorway to hell. So he goes to hell. Why does he go to hell? Because Wolverine finds out that Muramasa was taken by a subset of the Hand who worships the Beast, and they took Muramasa and sacrificed him so that he would go to hell, where he would forge hell weapons for the Hand during this intricate wedding. And so Wolverine has to go there, but you get to see Wolverine in hell, and he looks like the coolest T-1000 or T-800 you've ever seen.
Oh my god.
He does find Muramasa, who's like, you've got to help me, Logan-san. He's like, I took my soul and I put them into these blades, but he gets arrested by the Hell Hand people, goes to jail, doesn't matter.
It goes to hell jail.
They goes to hell jail, where he finds Solemn, who's also there.
They're after the same sword?
There's 2 blades.
I was gonna say that
Muramasa
sounded like there was
made
multiple,
dual blades
so they each
because
need
it was for a wedding.
a Muramasa Hellblade.
That's why they both had Muramasa on their lists, right? Solemn's pretty taken with Wolverine's abilities to grow his body back from nothing, from a skeleton essentially.
Yeah.
Wolverine tries to attack him. He's like, I have adamantium infused skin. He's like, I don't understand how that works. I guess we'll just work together, bub. They go attack the wedding. Wolverine gets himself in a bad way. Solomon
Attack the wedding?
Yeah, they attack the Hell wedding. Fuck, screw them. Screw that Hell wedding.
Hey, even in hell, a wedding is an event where you don't interrupt, man.
Nah, you interrupt this. This is not good.
They are the wedding crashers.
This is all going to make bad stuff for them. He makes a deal with Solomon to give him one of the swords because Solomon ended up with both blades. And he's like, I'll make a deal with you, Wolverine. I'm going to call on you for a fight someday. Wolverine's like, yeah, all right, just give me the sword. I don't think ahead. I live in the now.
Okay.
Will it get me the sword? Cool, I'll do it.
So that happens. Wolverine gets his sword. Neat. Storm gets her sword in a story that's really cool, and you should read it, but we're not going to go into it. She has to go to Wakanda to get a very specific blade that can never leave Wakanda.
But it's
Because
leaving
it's like
Wakanda.
because it's literally like the first weapon they ever made, and it's not allowed to leave the royal palace nor be touched by anyone. Needless to say, she totally does that.
Yes.
And she and T'Challa ain't banging. They're not getting back together after this one.
After taking that sword.
Yeah, and she gives Shuri a real hard time. She gets the sword, and no one's happy with her.
Could they have just said another sword?
No.
So like the
this was
swords
the
were
specific sword.
preordained for this.
Well, the Wakandans were also like, we'll make you any weapon. We'll make you a weapon. Or like you can go
I'll
to
make
the
you a
army.
better sword.
Well, that's what Shuri says. And then like the queen is like sitting in for T'Challa, who's like off island or off country, and is like, she's like, no. This type of battle clearly requires an ancient weapon. And she offers all these other things. And
Right.
Storm's
And we
like,
have those too.
Storm's like, no, but I need the one I can't have.
I'm sorry.
I need the forbidden fruit.
Yeah, it's got to be a thing that
Then-
causes like more problems.
Yeah, then exactly. I'm sorry.
sorry.
I'm sorry.
You mutants always causing these problems.
Then there's a chapter in which we see what the Hellions will be doing during this. The Hellions are a team created by Sinister of, it's the Suicide Squad. He doesn't care about them. They're all problem children.
Right.
And Quanon is on this team because Sinister has the ability to bring back her daughter, who is not a mutant. And so it's the only way she could come back. And so he's dangling it over her so that she runs this team.
Okay.
Sinister's like, I have a plan. Here's my plan. I'm going to send the Hellions over into Otherworld to go to Araco to steal all the swords before they get their swords. It's a brilliant plan.
Oh yeah.
And they're like, and he's like, and I'm happy to sacrifice my team for it. Let them go. And they're like, yeah, but if you're in Otherworld and you died, he's like, no, it's cool. They're totally great and amazing. And then like, I think it's Exodus is like, fine, that's totally cool. Let's do it. Sinister, we wish you luck. And they're like, he's like, what? And they're like, well, you can't just send them over there without their great fearless leader.
Right.
Goodbye, Sinister. So that's what they do. They go to Otherworld and they go off on a merry jaunt through Otherworld.
They go on a counter mission.
They go on a
Right,
counter mission.
which I'm assuming does not work.
It can't work.
So
What happens if you get to this battle and you didn't get your swords?
you'll
Like
see.
you just have to fight without one? Oh, they
We'll-
don't get them all?
We'll
Okay.
get there. Hang on.
Okay.
So the next one is going to be about how young Cable,
Young Cable.
because don't forget, young Cable killed old Cable, and now young Cable is the only Cable, is one of the sword wielders.
But he's
And
like,
so
but I like guns.
But he's got to go. And like, he found the sword recently, and so now he has a sword. And like, Cyclops is kind of like, yeah, but like, just let me do it for you. But like, they're busy doing other things anyway. So
Do you know how to use a sword, Scott?
but he's like, yeah, but I mean, like, I'm Cyclops. So I don't know if you know this. I'm Cyclops.
I'm like
I've
a
trained
leader.
like lots of things.
I'm like,
So
I'm the
by
best.
default, I know how to use a sword, I
Yeah.
think. I'm pretty sure I
I
can.
can't say I'm the best at what I do. That's already been coined by a
No,
different
it's
X-Men.
totally cool because they're definitely like banging the same chick in those connecting rooms, so it's fine. But that's not what this issue is about. This issue is about the next sword wielder, who's Cypher.
Cypher.
I remember Cypher.
Who's
Cypher is Doug, and Cypher is the only person who can communicate with Krakoa.
Oh, right.
And so Cypher has Warlock within him, and Warlock will be his sword.
What?
Yeah, so like
Warlock is gonna be a sword.
he can turn into a sword.
Yeah, you can turn into anything.
He can turn it wherever he wants, right? Magic's really concerned about this because she's like, Cypher, no offense, man, you're not a fighter. You're gonna get your ass kicked and you're going to die.
You a translator.
And also, the issue here is that Krakoa is like, I don't want you to go because if you go, no one can understand what I'm saying. And Xavier's like, this is accurate. We won't know what Krakoa is saying, and this will damage our relationship of working together on this amazing mutant like nation that we've created.
Right.
Yeah, we can't call Groot He's not a mutant, and he's in space.
Why did Cypher decide he's supposed to go?
Because it's in the prophecy.
Oh, it was.
He was one of the prophecy. Every person who's decided to go is in the prophecy.
Okay.
Exodus comes to Cypher and is like...
Is it a possibility that Polaris is like dicking people over by being like, you're in the
she
prophecy
had
now?
zero control over it. Like when
Okay.
she spits it out, like she like falls backwards. She's zero control over herself when that happens.
Right. It was like planted in her or whatever that
Yeah.
she was gonna.
Exodus is like, you should just let me go, Cypher. I'll go in your place because like I'm dope and awesome and I could totally kill everybody. And so he's like, in fact, what I'll do is I can kill you right now and then you won't be able to go because they can't bring you back right now because they haven't regrown the eggs yet.
Oh.
He's like, it'll be fine. They'll have to let me
No,
go.
it's fine. I'll just kill you. It'll be fine.
Warlock,
deal.
They'll understand.
Warlock doesn't let that happen, and inevitably, Cypher is like, I have to go.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Krakoa, I have to go. But don't worry, Magic will spend some time like training him or trying to train him in the 3 days they have.
Does he try and train anyone to speak to Krakoa?
No, because there's nobody else.
Do we-
I mean, like Tom Cassidy can kind of do it, but not in the same way. Like it's more of a feeling. It's not gonna really, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, did they explain why Krakoa didn't want that gate destroyed earlier, even though it's now
Krakoa-
causing... now Krakoa
didn't
doesn't seem
want
to
the
be in
gate to-
charge anymore.
Krakoa didn't want the gate to be destroyed because Krakoa knew that was the only way a Racco could come back.
And I want to bang a Racco
I would
again.
like to be whole.
Oh. I see. But then it was destroyed.
That's better than my
Well,
theory.
yeah.
I thought he
Yeah,
just had a
so
gate
that didn't
fetish.
work out too well.
Nope. He just was like, no, like that's how I can come through.
Okay.
Up on the peak, which is the sword ship, everyone's gone.
They should call it the tip.
No. It's very much like every space horror movie you've ever seen.
Okay.
Everyone's gone. It's really, really quiet. They start exploring the ship. Gene runs into the last survivor. He's like, things got real bad up here. Real bad. And then he turns around and his face is all messed up because he was in a space horror movie.
Oh no, it's Event Horizon.
I mean, I don't know if you saw the big spinny ball thing.
Yeah. I wasn't sure then, but then I saw him.
And
with
then
the
you
eyes,
saw him with
the
the
messed up, and
eyes.
it's like,
Yeah,
oh.
and like basically everything, things got kind of out of hand at one point.
Is this connected to anything, or is this just coincidentally there was a space horror movie on the sword ship?
Yeah, so Cable turned the ship on by using the
Oh,
sort
and then
of...
they go into the Nether.
Cable turned the ship on by inserting the sword of Galador into this big spinny ball thing,
Okay.
which turned the ship on, which...
Is that his sword, the Sword of Galador?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
He wants to call it something later on, and Magic's like, don't rename your sword. It comes with a name.
Right.
That's its name. That's just crass.
If everyone was going to rename their swords, no one would know what name their sword was.
Right?
I mean, the reality is you can call it whatever you want. You can't rename it.
No, you can't do
This
it. I'm
name
sorry.
is what it
This
is.
is what it is. This gate is obviously the reason that everything went to hell.
Right. It's probably a gate to hell, and that's why it went to hell.
So Gene finds out it's a gate to like this other dimension where there's a bunch
Yeah, that's
of...
what Ethan said. It's the Nether.
Well, it's the Nether if the Nether was filled with these things called the Vescora, whose sole reason was to cleanse realms they go to and destroy everything.
Oh, that's not good.
It's not good.
That's happening in the middle of this crazy X-Men event.
Yeah, they go up there and they're like, okay, whoops. Whoops, we turned on the ship, which powered the gate up. We shouldn't have done that.
So they're like the janitors of
Yeah.
the universes.
So they have like an adventure and then they shut the gate down real fast.
Okay.
And like Jean takes a listen in there to see if there's anything of value. Like, is it that the only thing in there? And she's like, oh, yeah, turn it off.
That's the only thing in there.
So then Cable comes and like puts his sword in and neat. Hooray.
Cool.
We're there.
So then they get that.
Cyclops and Magic have like a moment because they're both captains of Krakoa, in which Jean uses her powers to let Cyclops be psychic, basically, so he could talk to people. And
Okay.
they're like, you know,
You guys can talk to each other.
He's
now.
like,
Yeah.
how's it looking? Like, it does it look like rain? She's like, oh, it looks like it's coming down in daggers. And she's like, do you have a plan? And he's like, I'm working something out. I'm working something out here. Don't you worry.
Oh, okay.
I know that phrase. He has no plan.
Yeah.
We're dealing with alternate dimensions and magic and crap. But,
You got a plan.
Cyclops
Cyclops
has
has
got
got
it
this.
under
He's got it.
Okay.
We have to get a few more sword bearers. Obviously, the Braddock twins
Yeah,
are going to be
half.
involved. Yeah, the Braddock twins are going to be involved. So we do have one non-mutant in Brian Braddock.
Uh-oh. Oh, so non-mutants can participate.
Only if they're part of the prophecy.
Well, that's very convenient for you mutants, that most of
Right.
the people in the prophecy are mutants.
Well, everyone on Iraq.
I mean, it kind of makes
making all
sense.
this up. Where are the
Listen.
Avengers?
Listen.
Where's Doctor Strange?
You
Who's
tell
the
me
threat
one
to
Avenger
the
that uses a
universe?
sword.
The Avengers are dealing with the fallout of Empire.
Oh, they're busy.
They're busy.
All right.
Betsy and Brian are fighting because, like, Betsy has her own sword, and Brian's like, you should take the Sword of Might. I don't want to use it, because when I use it, I took it out of anger and fear, and so, like, if I wield it, that's all I'm going to wield it in, and it makes me worried, right?
Yeah, it's gonna be real bad. But you can use it. It's fine.
But you can use it. It's totally cool. So they're
Why
arguing.
are they acting like they have a choice? The prophecy determined who goes. Like,
Yeah, well, no, this has nothing to do with the prophecy. This is just them dealing with Captain Britain crap, because we're in Excalibur right now. Inevitably, Brian does draw the sword, but in defense of his family, and becomes Captain Avalon.
okay.
It's a new thing.
Yeah, he does that earlier, but he doesn't have a name, and his brother Jamie names him as Captain Avalon. He's like, you defend me now! Yay, it's Captain Avalon. Betsy destroys the Amulet of Right.
Why?
Oh.
Because she's mad at Saturnine. Because Saturnine is just like, you should just give up being Captain Britain. You're not Captain Britain. You didn't do the thing you're supposed to do. You didn't make the choice. You just became it. That's not how this works.
Oh.
So then she gets arrested. It doesn't matter. All that matters is inevitably Saturnine tries to get Brian to bed her.
Oh.
He goes along with it for a little bit. It's all a ruse so that they can get the sword they need that she hid underground that only she could access. So he is kissing her and cradling her, and then she drops the sword. And he's like, now Betsy! So Betsy runs in and grabs the sword.
Betsy was watching her brother make out with her the whole time. That is gross.
It's not just Betsy, it's Jamie too. And they're both like, ew, it's terrible.
I mean, ew, but way to go, Brian.
They trick Saturnine? She falls for this?
Did she know
Or
the
was
prophecy?
this part of her plan the whole time?
Well, she was hoping that Brian would just take up the sword of being Captain Britain. That's all she really wants, and she wants to bang him like you wouldn't believe.
Why?
Because Captain Britain.
Because she's had a long history with him.
Oh.
So those two show up. Now we got two more. Cool. Got two more. Great.
Betsy and Brian.
Betsy and Brian. There
Not
they
Jamie,
go.
though.
Not
Jamie
Jamie.
can stay home.
But they were
Jamie's a
both part
monarch.
of the prophecy.
Yeah.
So what's
The Braddock twins
what's
are part of the
different
prophecy.
that Saturnine didn't plan for? Which one is wielding which sword?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Because she would have given him that sword, the Starlight Citadel sword,
Okay.
but been fine with Betsy having the Sword of Might.
I see.
Yeah, take the Sword of Might. You do that because you're not Captain Britain. You don't get the amulet.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'll give Brian the Sword of Avalon.
Then we get another recap of that same story we saw before with Apocalypse and his family back in the day, and how everything that happened, except that he talks about Genesis and how amazing she was, and how she was stronger than he was.
That's why.
And that's why she went.
And when they seemingly had driven the Amenthi demons back, they brought forth a gift, and the gift was the Mask of Annihilation, which went on one of the Amenthi. And if you wear the Mask of Annihilation, you control the creatures of Amenth, but the mask controls you because there's a being in it.
Oh.
And it takes someone of strong constitution to wield it. So this guy just
Disintegrates.
just disintegrates as he's trying to tell him that it's we won't stop. You'll never stop us. There's countless numbers of us. And so that's when they make the decision of who will go. And so Apocalypse is like, I want to go with you. And she's like, but you can't because you're not strong enough, Apocalypse.
Fucking snap!
Which is where this lost a lot of people because they're like, no. What?
Right.
So they go. And Genesis is like, Apocalypse, we're going to leave. But one day you will raise up mutantdom and you will judge them and you will come for us and you'll see that only the fittest remain and you'll save us and it'll be great.
Right.
Yeah, it'll be
you
part
have
of your whole
own
thing about the
job.
fist.
You got your,
got your special
got
job
your
over
thing.
there.
It's okay.
Yeah.
You do that.
You're good at convincing people
to do your bidding.
Do your bidding.
But I'm
going
going
to
to take the kids and go over here. It's not a divorce.
No, it's
Yeah.
fine. We're just separating for right now. You can have them on every 10,000 years weekends.
So is the idea here that the children after Genesis died, they went native basically, and they're like,
And they
well, we spent our whole lives
well, the
here.
Amenthi won, so they just kind of joined them.
They're like, yeah, it was join or die. I
Yep.
guess we'll join. Okay.
Carmen Sandiego's here?
Yeah, that's it's Giada Whitechapel of Blightspoke. Apocalypse goes to get his sword. He's one of the sword wielders, and then the last
What's his sword?
the Scarab Blade. And the last sword
Oh, so
wielder.
he's recovered from being stabbed.
Yeah, he's cool.
Okay.
The last sword wielder is Gorgon, and he wields 2 swords. So we only have 9 sword wielders, but we do have 10 swords.
I was gonna say that was 9.
Okay.
What? He gets 2 swords?
He gets 2 swords. All of the realms of Otherworld are invited to like a council meeting.
Does he have to stand on 2 stones?
No, he just essentially the swords are keys. And so they have to stab their swords into those symbols, and which opens the ability for them to go to
I hope he's got a long
Starlight
wingspan.
Citadel. Hey, yeah. There we go.
Hang on, I can kind of grip it with my foot, and this.
And I'll just, it's fine. And then we see a very brief issue of Araco getting all of their sword wielders.
Right.
Which
we don't know or care about them.
Right,
as much,
which
so,
includes
like,
Redroot, who's the like analog to Cypher for Araco. It includes Pog, who's actually an Amenthi beast. It includes War and Death.
Oh, so that's okay. I was asking Sal who was on the cover of this book that is a giant alligator.
Yeah, that's Pog, and he wields the sword Pog.
Wait a minute, he's an alligator. How does he wield the sword?
Because he's got like arms. He's got armor.
Oh.
Armor.
He wields the Pog sword.
It's
That's fitting.
And he says Pog a lot. Anyway.
That was like a Pokemon.
It's like the worst Pokemon ever.
Pog.
There's Bay, the Blood Moon.
Bay?
Bay, B-E-I.
Oh, okay.
Not like Bay, but she is Bay. Trust me, she Bay. There's also Solemn.
Is her blade the Bay blade?
No, her blade is the Seducer. They all have powers too, by the way. We get to see those. Bay's power is the Doom Note. Except for Pog, he has no powers because he's just a monster.
You're a big alligator guy. You don't need
You've got enough powers, okay?
I have a surprising draw strength.
Yeah, that's it. And you can roll around.
Yeah, unless it's only closing strength. If you hold it shut, it'll.
Yeah, or-
I really can't
if
open
you
at
jump
that
on my
point.
back, I'm screwed. And also the White Sword.
Oh yeah, the white sword.
Oh, the white
crazy
sword.
guy.
Yeah. That's not his sword name. That's his name.
Right.
His
What's
sword
the
is
sword called?
Purity.
Oh, okay.
Lame.
Also, the final person is Iska the Unbeaten. So it's like, so you're gonna win,
Right.
I mean,
she can't lose,
unless she switches sides at the last second.
right? So everybody goes. They show up. Our guys show up, and they're like ready to fight.
Right.
And Saturnine shows up. It's like,
Whoa.
relax.
No, it's
You're
not how it's
in.
going down.
We have opening ceremonies, people.
So like, I thought we were gonna fight, and like Hawkless is like, I think these were keys for right now. The fighting hasn't begun. She sends everyone to their rooms, where they all find tarot cards. Betsy gets the 9 of Swords. It's not a good sword. It's not a good one to get.
Oh.
Well, yeah, it looks like she's being stabbed multiple times by 9 swords.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Cypher gets the 2 of Cups. Gorgons.
He doesn't even get a sword?
No, not everybody gets a sword. Like she gets the I don't remember which one.
There's only.
There's only
It'd be
the
boring
swords
if it
has like a significant amount, but not everybody gets them. Knight of Pentacles, Strength, the Fool. Storm gets Death.
Oh.
Death doesn't always mean death in tarot, by the way.
Thank
Yeah.
you for saying that.
What I want to say about Gorgon's card is because tarot also gets this reading, and like she gets it in a way in which like again like she shuffles and like they still continue to come up. I think this is the one where she calls other people and they keep getting the same reading as well. She's like, okay, but like one of the cards when she flipped the card over to see what it was, when she flipped it over it was the back, and when she flipped it back it was the back.
So she couldn't see what the
The
card
unseen
was?
card.
Yeah, and we don't see what it is.
Huh.
I was like, oh damn.
Interesting.
Pogloves gets his, he crushes it. He goes to Saturnine. He's like, he basically barges into her room and Saturnine's like, you're not supposed to be here. And you wrecked your card. What the heck? She fixes the card. And he's like,
I don't like mine.
they have like a,
It says the fool.
they have a battle of words. And, you know, he's like, your hospitality is a load of shit. What are you doing? Like, what is this all meant to be? And like, she's like, it's just a card apocalypse. And they go in the elevator. They continue to have their conversation about like, you know, the fact that she's pissed at him for what he did in terms of like just
Having a gate.
showing up.
having a gate, like sending your little team into like Otherworld. Hey, you did me a solid. You dealt with Morgan Le Fay. Appreciate that. But then you did everything else wrong, and you just attacked the Starlight Citadel trying to get in. No. That's not how this works.
Right.
I say thee nay.
I say thee nay, and you brought Betsy Braddock into my life. I hate you for that in particular. But she's like, listen, I'm on to my next meeting, so I have to go. And my next meeting is with one of the last sword wielders that they have, which is Annihilation.
Oh, I thought it was going to be Brian.
No,
I
it's
have a meeting with Brian in his room.
yes, where I'll be taking my clothes off. And when Annihilation is revealed, it's his wife.
Oh, shit.
Oh, she didn't die.
No.
Or she died and was resurrected by the sword guy.
And so,
Yeah.
like,
So
Apocalypse,
what?
I love this moment with Apocalypse because he's like,
I am in so much trouble.
because his card was the Lovers, which is why he was mad.
Oh. He's like, this is a sick joke.
Yeah.
I am going to say, you do still look hot.
You
You kept the body.
look banging. And I would like to do that.
I look at the card says it's love it. Come on.
So then they have a conversation, right? And we get one last telling of what happened.
Okay.
It's the true telling,
But from
though.
her perspective.
From her perspective, and she's telling
Right.
everything.
She was actually there, so.
She is spilling tea.
Oh, for sure. So she's like, yeah, no, we all went. And like, she's like, and we know why you didn't go.
Oh. So he was lying before?
She doesn't tell us what the reason is.
Oh.
Okay.
I was like, oh, okay. Okay. In fact, the mutants did run off into the wastelands for sure. The White Sword did do all those things. They did build a civilization. They built all these towers to protect them. They started having kids. The guy did come and said, you're going to lose. She did ride out. The White Sword did defeat her. Everything else happens. She goes to Amenth, the fortress, and fights Annihilation. She's like, you should have seen me because I was incredible.
I mean, they're also wielding the same sword.
Yeah. She's like, I won.
Oh.
But I didn't know that to win meant you had to claim the helm.
Oh.
And so she did it.
So you do keep what you kill.
You keep what
It
you
is the
kill. It is the
necromonger
necromonger way. Except for 100 years, she refused to wear that helm. And so the beasts of Amenth went insane. And
they
in
weren't
being
guided by
insane...
Put on the helm!
Yeah, and
Just put it on,
Just put it on! Oh, God!
Get out!
We're dying! But in doing...
Good, I hate you.
Yeah, but like they were able to actually crack through all the tower defenses because they're like...
Because they were crazed.
Yeah.
They were fighting with,
they're-
like, no concern for their own
Exactly.
well-being. Yeah.
So if she put on the helm, she's under the control of the helm and she gets to control the beasts.
Yep.
Yeah.
So she might have destroyed the towers anyway. So, like, she
For
doesn't
su-
know.
For
yeah,
sure.
but she's seeing the towers get destroyed. She's probably like, oh, I guess I'll put it on because then
Yep.
at least I can like tell them to stop.
Yep, and so she does, and she's
Yeah.
like, the fact is though, like I am now Annihilation, and like, and while like Puck's like, you're the strongest person I know. She's like, that's right, and that's why like I'm still standing here, but like because I am now Annihilation, and I have that in me, I want what they want, and what that is Krakoa. And so like, I'm gonna get it.
Okay, but, like,
Right.
do you still want me?
She's like,
You want the big A?
she's like, not so much. Look what you've
No.
become. You made a little nation. Yeah. So then, as naturally as any big sword fight goes,
I have never seen Apocalypse, like, so downtrodden
Yep.
and smacked
Yeah.
around
Yeah,
as
a lot
right
of-
now.
This
is what all his
This is
machinations
great.
came
a lot
to.
of fans of Apocalypse not a fan of this.
Yeah.
This sword fight begins as all great sword fights do, with dinner. We have a big dinner in which all the realms of Otherworld come. Both sides, Araco, Krakoa, show up and have an evening together.
They break
Right.
bread. It's the social engagement before the fight.
Yeah,
Yeah.
literally, I love these issues. They're great. They're great. These are great issues.
Well, they all get to interact and talk.
They definitely interact and talk. And like War's had enough. She doesn't like anybody there. Storm flirts with Death and then like inevitably talks with Wolverine.
Does Storm flirt with Death because he kind of looks like a little bit like Black Panther?
No, she flirts with Death because like War's like, you know, oh, like I know you fear death because everyone does. And she's like, no, I don't. And so she does that to like show like I don't.
Okay.
Like screw you. Screw you.
But
She
also,
talks-
like, rubs his ears a little bit.
They're not soft. She talks to Wolverine and is like, I know what you're thinking, Wolverine. And he's like, I know you know, but like, don't try to stop me. Don't try to talk me out of it. And she's like, I'm not here to do that. I'm here to tell you, don't miss. And you're like, wait, what? Wait, what?
Oh, he's gonna try to assassinate somebody.
No,
So-
no, it's do not miss your chance to
blow.
He's gonna MC the event.
This is your shot, Wolverine. Mom's spaghetti. So we have this evening. It is catered by the Crooked Market.
Are they on top of an aquarium?
Yeah, they're
Filled with
walking on
mermaids.
water. Yeah.
Listen,
I want to eat there.
right?
Yeah, it's friggin' cool.
This evening has been catered thanks to the Crooked Market. This is the point of the story in which somewhere Rob Jefferson got the vapors because his favorite character shows up. Mad Jim Jaspers shows up. He's a
Who's that?
Mad Jim Jaspers is a nigh omnipotent being with incredible reality-altering powers.
And a terrible suit.
Who's British, wears this suit, and is kind of a clown. If you had to guess who created this character, who would you say it was?
Grant Morrison?
You would be wrong, but that is who Sal said you'd say it was.
Well, Sal is correct.
It would be our friend of the show, Alan Moore.
Oh, really?
Oh,
all bullshit.
Yeah. I think that he might have created this character as a joke in terms of I made this character who's super powerful and he wears horrible suits and he's British and who cares?
Right, because nothing matters.
Fart. But he's also one of Rob's favorite characters.
Did he have his own book, or was he in
He's
Swamp
been a
Thing
part.
or
No.
something?
He Swamp Thing's DC.
Oh, that's right.
No, he was part of the Excalibur stuff, and some of the other things that went along with that.
Oh, right.
But here he is. By the way, he's supposed to be dead. He's just here. So we don't know which Jim Jaspers this is. The first Jim Jaspers we met is from a different reality. The 616 version of him was more powerful than that one. So we don't know which one this is.
This is a Jim Jaspers.
Yeah, exactly. So everybody's here. They're going to have dinner. There's an incredibly amount of fun interactions here. One of which is kind of important because it's Wolverine's a total dick during this whole dinner, but it kind of works because it's Wolverine's totally out of his element. But also he's looking at this from the perspective of Brian, that woman over there who's in charge of this whole thing and who has all the power and all the cards, all she wants to do is bang you.
Let her fuck you.
Just do it. And Betsy's there too, and he's like, I'm a married man. And she's like, yeah, some of us really stick to our vows, Wolverine.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, right, you're married. You know who's not married? Cypher, Cable, Magic. They haven't had that opportunity, Brian. And so when they're out there fighting, you know who I'm going to be looking at? I'm not going to watch them die. I'm going to be looking at the man who could have stopped it. And I'm like,
damn.
Does he really think that just by banging her, he's going to be able to convince her to
Well, she could tip the scales to make sure. Because if something happens to Krakoa, something will happen to Earth, and that's where her precious Brian is from.
Well, but she could just grab him and be like, no, you're here with me.
Right, but at least maybe
At least curry favor.
I mean, it'd be an attempt, I guess.
Right.
I feel like that wouldn't work, but...
We watch Gorgon and Magic try to work through the room to figure out everyone's weaknesses because these two are very highly trained warriors.
Well, why don't they have Summoner Stump?
Because they don't need it. They don't need to play games. They use their eyes. This is where we get to see Iska do her thing and see her win over and over again. There's a really great moment.
How do you win at dinner?
Oh no, they challenge her at things. They're they try to see which hand she favors. So they drop their wine and she grabs them both without spilling a drop. She's like, you could have just asked, I'm ambidextrous. Storm and Death have a moment together where he's like, you don't fear me. And she's like, I've been dancing with you my entire life. And so they dance.
They dance under the sea.
Under the sea. And she's like, and I tell you now, he's like, are you flirting with me? Are you attracted to me? And she's like, Death, this is as close as you'll get to me. And I'm like, ooh.
Ooh, ever?
Sassy.
Then I'll get you.
I'll get you.
I'm gonna get you.
Storm.
Then the first course is served. And Wolverine stabs Saturnine.
Oh.
He's like, I know how to end this.
Okay, that was a don't miss moment.
Yep.
Yeah. Holy crap.
He does it with his claws too, not the sword. I
Yeah.
take it their swords are not at dinner.
No, they didn't bring their swords.
Okay.
Right.
Then we get this intro page about it. It's okay, so after Logan killed Saturnine, the shit hit the fan, and Arakko, Krakoa, and Otherworld all just started attacking each other.
Oh, so she dead.
What?
And then they
At this point in time.
and then
she
they
is
go, and then they have to go home, but it doesn't matter because Arakko and Ament are just come barreling on through after them, and so now everybody's involved, and things aren't going well.
Yeah, I wouldn't have done that.
I wouldn't have done that.
Because...
We see Doctor Strange die. He burns to death in the fires of war. And then we see Wolverine, who's the last one to die because he'll be around forever. And he watches the world fall. And then Saturnine shows up and stabs him and is like, I'm in your head, Logan. And I wanted to give you a glimpse of what would happen if you tried this. Or if you fail. If you lose, this is the fate of the world. So he comes out and he's like, duh.
Yeah.
So he's like, would you like to have a seat now? Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, I would. So they start eating. Cypher grabs Wolverine's like appetizer, which was like sushi, special sushi. It was the last. It was made of the fish out of the oceans of Dryador, which was the land that was burned. So it's the last time you'll ever have it.
Well, this is delicious. Well, there isn't anymore.
Oh, that's it.
And there never will be.
But he like Cypher's eating it, and Wolverine sniffs his plate and realizes his food is poisoned, which we saw War do.
Oh.
Ding, ding, ding. But it was supposed to be for Wolverine because she was like, that guy's trouble. But Cypher eats it and like is dying.
Boy.
And then like everything erupts. And like the white sword is like, seriously? You're such a coward. You brought poison to this? We are meant to fight on the field of battle, not like this. And so he resurrects Cypher. And he's like, and you're not beholden to me.
Oh.
He's like, this was bullshit.
Right.
This is my favorite moment,
Saturnine
though.
set up a nice dinner.
A nice dinner for us. We never have a nice dinner, and you ruined it.
I sit in a tower by myself where I resurrect my warriors day after day. I never get invited out.
There's a great moment between Apocalypse and Genesis where like they sit in silence, and then he just goes, well, I see you did well with the children. And she's like, I did my best.
I mean, other than, death trying to poison somebody.
It was war.
Oh, sorry, war.
Yeah.
Right.
The evening's over. They serve scarabs at one point. Wolverine eats one of the scarabs in front of Death because Death has like a meltdown about that.
These are representatives of my culture and my people.
Yeah. And then the evening kind of like closes.
I'm sorry, was there ice cream?
Yeah. I mean, they have all sorts of desserts.
Yeah.
She eats an eyeball.
Delicious.
They also serve unicorn at one point.
The most blessed of meats.
So at the end of the evening, the first battle for the next day is revealed, and it's Betsy Braddock versus Iska the Unbeaten.
Oh no. Just totally at random. That's so weird how that happened.
And the next battle is going to be Cypher versus Iska the Unbeaten.
Yeah. Oh, what?
I don't know
I don't know what's happening
It's
here.
like a tournament. Like you have to until the unbeaten
You got
loses.
we
like
probably
you're
should
gonna
have
have
started
to keep
with her.
fighting.
Whoops.
Yeah.
I forgot to mention too that because of Excalibur running concurrently and like doing things, Jubilee is in Otherworld because her son Shogo, who becomes a dragon when he comes to Otherworld,
Oh yeah.
was injured and he's healing there.
Okay.
Like he can't go home yet because he's hurt real bad.
Okay.
So she has zero idea what's happening.
Right. I'm just
So
here
she's
for
just
my
hanging out,
dragon.
healing her son.
Yeah, and then like Betsy like reaches out to her and is like, "Listen, I'm about to like fight. There's crazy crap going on, and like we're fighting for the fate of everything. But like, just chill where you are. And if you don't hear back from me, like we're cool and we're friends and whatever." They fight, and it's super short.
Right.
There's a couple of parries, and on one of the like parries that like she goes to use the Starlight sword on, Iska comes down and the sword shatters.
Oh.
And when the sword shatters, so does Betsy Braddock.
What?
Oh.
And so, point for Araco.
Wow.
Saturnine comes out into the field of battle, having missed the whole thing. She's like, "Oh, I'm late. I didn't realize it would be so fast. Oh, Betsy died." Brian loses it. Like Wolverine's trying to like hold him back.
Yeah.
Hold me back.
It's like hold me back.
Hold me
Wolverine.
back.
Yeah, your sister's in shards, man.
Yeah. They collect the shards, and the shards are taken off the field of battle.
Did they put her into a nice window and stained glass her?
They put her into a bucket, and and off she goes. And the next
Oh, we call
fight,
that a dustbin.
the next fight is revealed, and it's Cypher and Bay the Blood Moon. Cypher's like, I didn't think it would happen so soon. We're like still mourning, so they drag him off, and they drag her off, and like they go to these rooms, and like Cypher's in this room with all these chicks, and they start like dressing him and like playing with his hair and like midsummering him. He gets like a flower crown. He's like, I feel like you're gonna kill me. I'm very uncomfortable.
They're like, well, we're preparing you for the sacrifice.
So here you
You're
go.
not gonna win.
So they lead him through, and like this girl here is like, and she opens the door and it's this big white light, and he's in a chapel.
Oh.
And at the end of the aisle is Bay the Blood Moon.
What?
He's like, they're like, hey, I thought you were gonna leave your bride waiting at the altar. Come on, Douglas, come on down.
What?
Is this the battle?
Yeah.
What? They gonna get married and then fight?
They get married.
Their fight. is in the bedroom afterwards.
Oh, who's going to win? Both of them. Also, Cypher's power is to understand everybody?
Yeah.
He can't understand her. Other people can, because the Doom Note is like Black Bolt's powers. It can destroy, but it also seeks to be understood, and so it can be understood by most other mutants, but Cypher can't understand it, and he's fascinated by it. He's like, I can't wait.
The one chick I don't know what she's saying.
Okay.
I do.
So he gives his vows. He's like, I
don't really know what I'm doing here.
Hey,
or what's going on?
I'm kind of happy we don't have to fight. That's cool. So I'll do the best I can. And her vows are dope. They're like, love is a fealty that cannot be broken, and I will love you with the force of the wave that crashes the shore and fight for you like the current that swallows the sands.
And he's just nodding, being like,
he's like,
was it good?
Well, Apocalypse goes like, they're very good, Douglas. You should accept them. And so they do, and then she takes her veil off, and she's gorgeous. And he's like, what?
It's like, well, this is great.
This is the best day of my life. And then Shogo shows up because she didn't hear back from Betsy, so Jubilee's there.
Oh.
And they're like, appoint anyone who stops the dragon, because the dragon fire can break reality. Storm goes up and is like, Jubilee, you gotta stop. You gotta stop. And then Saturnine takes control of Shogo because it's a child, and she has power over that because she's magic, and magic can sway a child.
Children,
so she just takes Shogo the dragon, and it's like, this is mine now. And then the two of them kiss, and Arako 2, Krakoa 1. Everybody got a point for that one.
Oh, that's so weird. What was the point of that?
We have another fight between Magic and Pog or Pog. It turns out it's not a sword fight. It's an arm wrestling contest. Pog or Pog wins. We have a fight where Wolverine has to go into Blightspoke, which Blightspoke...
So there has been one fight so far with swords.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you think that this was going to be a sword fight?
Just because they all had to bring a sword to it?
Because the Ten of Swords card was drawn? We all know that's not what it means.
No, because they all had swords.
Well,
they have literal swords.
The swords.
They had to collect the swords in order to go.
Swords meant things.
Right. Well, Wolverine takes his sword with him into Blightspoke. Blightspoke is the realm within Otherworld where failing realities and destroyed dimensions go, and it's a disaster. It is a mess. This thing's collapsing on top of one another. You don't want to go there. So Wolverine has to fight Summoner. You got to check out this issue if you didn't, because the way, because they slide through different dimensions, like this Celestial Tron one.
Yes, that's cool. All the yes.
They become they become chess pieces. This one you can barely see in the printed version, but they become circuits.
Circuit board.
Yeah.
Oh, and Monkey Ball.
Cool.
Yep, all kinds of things. They become one individual at one point.
Can we skip the realm where they're just eyes?
No, we can't skip that.
I don't want to go to the eye place.
And then Wolverine stabs Summoner with Muramasa.
Oh.
And is like, there, I did it, witch. And she's like, no, this was a fight to the death, and he won. Point for Arako.
What?
Because he died.
What? Okay, so they're just making up the rules as they go.
Oh, you mean Saturnine dicked over Wolverine because he thought about killing her? Yeah.
It's a fight to the death.
I thought Saturnine had this all planned out.
Well, yeah, but
But she's also petty, is like, oh, well, that fight actually didn't matter.
Yeah.
So,
but Wolverine has a really hard time dying, too.
Yeah. The next issue, or the next fight is between Wolverine and Storm, where it's a drinking competition.
I'm sorry, with Wolverine and Storm?
Yeah. So between Wolverine and Storm, and there's a drinking competition, so they're drinking something that Mad Jim Jaspers gives them, which we then find out was selected by an outside force, which was Death, who paid him in a very special scarab, and he used a very special liquor. And Wolverine can get drunk off of this liquor because this liquor is Blight Swill, which comes from, it's the liquid, it's like, you know when dinosaurs die and they break down and they become oil?
Yeah.
That's what happens to broken realities in Blightspoke. It becomes this swill, which would kill anyone.
But because he can't die.
But because he can't die. Now, Storm, it really ruins her, and it takes away their powers.
So she's no longer Storm.
So she's not Storm, and he doesn't have his healing factor.
Okay.
So they're drinking, and they're getting drunk, and they're having a good time. You know, the two of them have,
history.
They have history. They've had on, off, whatever, right? So they almost, kiss here, right? And while this is going on, there's another fight happening elsewhere between two swords, except it's solemn and war.
Okay, good. Because if there were two from one team fighting, I would expect two from the other team to fight.
And War's like, I'm all in on this. I'm going to destroy you. Mm-hmm. And Solemn's like, totally fair. Saturnine, darling, do me a favor. Call Wolverine here, because he's going to fight for me. He owes me it.
Oh, yeah.
Son of a bee.
And so Wolverine has to come in, and instead of it to the death, it's to the first one who amputates a like, anything. Any part of you gets cut off, the other person wins.
Okay.
And Solemn's like, oh, and by the way, War, Wolverine just killed your son. Because Summoner was War's.
Oh.
Yeah.
Right.
So.
That's not cool.
So she loses her mind and tries to kill Wolverine.
Right.
And goes for the neck, which was a mistake. Because she's like, I don't understand. Why didn't you cut your head off? She's like, adamantium spine. And then he cuts her hand off.
Oh.
But point for Arakko because he was fighting for Solemn.
Well, Racco was going to get a point no matter what. Just like Krakoa got a point for the Wolverine.
And I guess Storm won.
Yeah, I was going to say, who won that?
Pog and Magic have a rematch, but this is like a wrestling match. And like Magic's figured it out. Pog isn't an alligator. There's a guy in it. He's like wearing an alligator mech suit.
What?
So she lets him eat her, and then she pulls him out, and then like just kicks the crap out of him.
Nice.
And then we see a whole bunch of other things. There's like a torture competition. There's rolling boulders up a thing. There's swimming through the scene from episode 1. There's a food eating competition, like the old Fear Factor show. A dance competition. The MC Escher competition. The I'm in quarantine and have to put a puzzle together competition. The fashion show.
Okay, watching him scratch his head, being like, I can't find this piece.
Yeah, I can't do
great.
it. But like, as you can see, Arakko is up quite a bit.
Yeah.
It's 12-5,
Yeah.
right? There's a foot race in which Saturnine pits Captain Avalon against Redroot, who's that Cypher allegory. She's very slow. She can only walk. And Avalon is like, listen, Saturnine, I'm not going to take up the Captain Britain moniker because she tries to call him that. And he's like, stop with that. That's not who I am anymore.
Knock it off.
I didn't do that. And she's like, okay, fine. If you won't take it, then like I'm gonna force you to do certain things. And she has like these like beings who show up and hold him down. Well, Redroot wins. It's the tortoise in the hair, but like they totally screwed over the hair.
Right.
Yeah, if you nail the hare's feet to the ground.
Yeah, then the tortoise wins. The tortoise, however, in this instance, knocks something over in the Crooked Market. And if you go to the Crooked Market, never go to the Crooked Market. You can find anything there, but everything has a price. And so, although Redroot wins, she breaks something that essentially is priceless. She's like, tries to be like, I'm sorry, I'll pay for it. He's like, oh yes, you will.
How?
And Mad Jim Jaspers just takes her and puts her in a bell jar.
Oh.
So she's off the table.
Well, but she got a point for herself.
She got a point.
Before
It's totally
being put
cool.
in a jar.
We see a couple more.
Hey, I don't know if anyone remember this. Betsy shattered.
Yeah.
It's, there's a spelling competition. There's a competition between Wolverine and the White Sword in which they have to look into mirrors and see the faces of everyone they've killed.
Oh.
And the first one to flinch loses and Wolverine cries.
Yeah, I guess
He's killed a lot of people.
There's a competition where there's like these rock sirens. They're just rocks. They just have to resist their call and Gorgon's like, just runs out there. You're gonna bang a rock. There's a competition between War and Captain Avalon where the one thing you have to do is not kill the kitten.
What?
Kill the kitten. Whichever one you kills the kitten gets a point.
Well, wouldn't War just
War
immediately do that?
Dives
Yeah,
in.
War's going for it. And Braddock's like, you wouldn't. He's like, trying to stop her.
No, don't you kill that kitten!
So then we finally get to another sword fight between Death and Storm. And Storm's just laying on the ground because she's still affected by the blight swill.
Oh,
It
no.
went through Wolverine fairly quickly because as he was becoming undrunk, his healing factor started kicking in, which started pushing it out faster, but she didn't have a healing factor.
Right.
So Storm doesn't have her powers at all, which may have been why Death wanted to do this, because Death might have been a little concerned with Storm because she's not afraid of him, and she's an Omega level mutant.
Right.
So he's like, hey, you asked to dance with me one time. Also, they're in the realm of Sevalith. The only reason that's important to know is because Sevalith is the realm of vampires. There's a Nosferatu realm.
Okay. There's an entire realm just for vampires.
Just vampires.
You wasted one of your like 8 realms on vampires.
There's a whole realm.
Hey.
There's a realm of like bee people who are actually like under the There's like an alien parasite that took them over. So they're like the Borg now. Yeah, you don't have to worry about
And
that.
they still have a queen.
They do. They fight. It's a dope fight because like he's like, you don't have your powers, but like, and she's like, I'm messed up. And he's like, oh, would you like to forfeit? She's like, hell no. Because if we know anything from Storm, it's Storm can also fight. Girl knows how to fight. And so she does. And she kicks his ass. And then he's like, she shatters his blade.
Oh.
And then he's like, okay, cool. I'm just going to take my helmet off and use my like death gaze essentially and kill you. Because like that's the last thing you'll ever see. And as he like sends it out, she brings her sword up and deflects it back into him.
Oh, snap.
And then she stabs him.
Oh, gee. And
For
she
second
stabs
measure.
And she stabs him, she kicks him on the ground, and then she looks to the crowd that's there of vampires, and she's like, well, he's bleeding, is he not? And they descend upon him.
Oh, man. That's
She just
awesome.
pimps off.
Do they all die after eating him?
No, they're vampires. I mean, what are they gonna do?
They're already dead.
We check in with the Hellions. The Hellions have finally gotten to Araco, and
You're a little late, guys.
they are wrecked, by the way. They're greeted by this dude who's like there, and he's like, oh, hey. And they're like, yeah, we're looking for the swords. They're like, that contest is already going on. It's been going on for a bit now. And
You
they're
must
like,
have walked right past it, man.
they did all this for nothing. Havoc lost an eye.
Oh my
Like, they are
God.
messed up, right?
Do we see that happening?
No, this just like, we see some stuff happen, and then we just cut to this.
Right.
And they're talking about bridge trolls and all this stuff.
man.
Like, they want an adventure that you'll never see. But the dude they run into, the only reason I'm bringing this up is because this dude is like from Amenth, right? Mm-hmm. And he's like sinister.
Oh, so he's not like a beast from Amenth.
No, he's like a dude.
Okay.
I believe he's from Amenth. This is where it gets a little like, but like essentially he also genetically plays with mutants. And so remember all those mutants who ran like from Araco when they hit?
Yeah.
Because like Genesis describes it as like the sound that rang out as the gate closed behind us drove them mad. And so they ran off. And apparently they were taken by Amenth and they were experimented on and like changed.
Okay.
And so they're like these
By this
like
dude.
Well, yeah, and there's so sometimes there are these Amenthi like mutant hybrids that they'll run into. And this guy has his locust vial, and they're a bunch of monsters, and they all have crazy powers, and they're all very scary.
Yeah, they are.
They're all very scary.
all
Like
like
this
weirdo
guy,
masks.
this guy here, the amino fetus, he's not allowed to eat. But this guy here, the hex butcher, he needs to eat. And then there's like
It's all about eating.
yeah, kind of. And then there's like the sick bird who has like, frail bird, like, bird bones, but like she
That doesn't seem like a good power.
she like she'll use her spines to like infect you with this thing that'll like coagulate your blood and mess up. These people are a disaster, and
Right.
you don't want to know
It's
them.
like it's a crazy fighting team.
yeah, and
They're
like
the gross kind of mutants.
yes, and this is when Sinister is like in love. He's like, look at them, they're beautiful, and he's like, yeah, they are. They
You like my locust file?
My locust
Dude,
file-
we should hang out.
Yeah, we just totally hang out. His name's Tarn. Tarn's like, you may look upon them, but you may not take up their genetic code because that's my art. I did this. And,
Okay.
Seriously, like you want to see some of my genetic files?
Sinister is like,
Compare notes?
Sinister's like that guy on the internet who's like, this artist is like, I did this. And they're like, you did this? I did this. And so like he releases his like drone mosquitoes to like get their genetic material, and Tarn's like, I'm not an idiot. I'm right here.
Right. I see you doing
I see
that.
you doing
No,
this.
man, they're bugs. It's hot out. It's summer. What do you want
I
from
can't
me?
control them. What? So they have a big fight.
Okay.
And in that big fight, Nanny dies. And
Who?
the egg lady.
Oh.
The what?
The
The egg.
egg lady.
The egg lady. She's the egg
Nanny.
lady. The egg lady.
Listen, a bunch of mutants die in
Okay.
Araco. Okay?
Right,
That's
but
what
mutants that I've never heard of. and
yeah,
don't
it doesn't
care about.
matter. Fine. They die. And then
Hellions.
Sinister goes back with the ones that were left. And Sinister dies on the other side.
Oh.
In Amenth. But when the team that makes it goes back through the gate to Krakoa, Sinister's there because he had another clone of himself ready to go. And he kills them all so that they don't remember what happened. And then he pretends like his team died. So he kept all the material because he gave it to Quanon to bring back. And he gets to get his
And
team
then killed
back.
Quanon.
Yeah, and then he gets to get his team back. The only reason it's important to mention that those mutants died over in Araco is because inevitably when they bring them back, they resurrect them, they don't come back wrong. They come back better.
Oh.
They're stronger and more honed because Araco makes monsters. Everyone's better and more ripped, but they also have like zero patience.
So they're not in the hub. It's different.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
cool. You're not in the multiverse, you're okay. Sinister has to go before.
I feel like Apocalypse would love Araco.
Well, yeah. Sinister has to go before the council and tell them what happened. And, like he's like, yeah.
Yeah, I had this insane plan.
Yeah.
to mess with like things that like gods
Exactly.
are doing.
And it
didn't work.
He doesn't say that. He's like, oh, all my guys died because things are real bad over there. He just lies.
Right.
And then he keeps his stuff.
Okay.
Meanwhile, in Otherworld, Bay the Blood Moon is fighting Cable. Cable gets the upper hand for a second. And Cypher
Cable's got the upper hand now.
Cypher has this look on his face like, you're going to kill my wife. And so he flinches. And so then Bay gets the upper hand. Cypher stops him, or stops her. He's like, don't do it. He's my friend. And like, that's not what we're all about. And Saturnine like, this is okay. I said it was to the death, but not all deaths are of life. Like, sometimes it's of the spirit. Because like, it's just destroyed Cable.
Oh.
Because Cable's been really struggling with the fact that like, maybe old Cable should be here. Maybe it shouldn't be me.
Maybe I suck.
I suck. Maybe the old man should be here and not me.
Right.
And like his dad is like, get that out of your head. You're my son, and I'm gonna raise you. I'm gonna have a family. God.
Okay.
Cable's able to reach out to Jean, which is like shouldn't be able to work, but like they do, and
Because Jean.
Cable's like, things are real bad, Mom. It's real bad. It's 18-6, and I just lost real bad, and I fell in the mud, and we're not going to win, and you guys better prepare, because we're all going to die, and then you guys are going to die.
Right.
And then Saturnine's
Wait,
like,
did they get the point for dying of spirit?
no.
No,
Unlike the other fight to the death?
Well, yeah, because that was
No.
Wolverine.
Yeah,
That was Wolverine.
most
I
of
don't
them-
like Wolverine.
That was one random fight where dying was good.
Yeah.
All the other fights to the death
Dying's
was
bad.
bad.
Dying's
Yeah.
bad.
It was opposite day that time.
So Saturnine comes over and is like, are you trying to make a call, like a long distance call out?
Do you know how much that's going to charge me?
So she stops that immediately. And then like Scott's like, okay, new plan. We go get them.
What was the old plan? Just
wait.
waiting around and hoping that it worked
because
out?
don't forget, like,
Hey, that's my boy. He's going to do it.
Scott's all on board for like following the rules until the rules don't work for him and it's his family on the line.
Right.
Then there's a really dope fight between Gorgon and the White Sword. And the White Sword's like, I won't fight you until you fight my 100 guys.
What?
Because he's got his 100 soldiers. He's like, in order to fight me, you got to fight them first.
That doesn't seem very fair.
Gorgon's like, I got 2 swords.
I got 2 swords, here we go. So then, like, he fights a whole bunch of them, and then inevitably he ends up removing his mask to use his powers, which are to turn people to stone.
Ah.
And so he does that, but then one of the warriors, like, digs his eyes out.
Oh, shit.
And then, like, he kills all the ones that are sent. He kills 6 of them.
Okay.
And then the White Sword's like, send them all. And Gorgon does the best that he can, and inevitably is taken over.
He just needs to spin real fast, man.
Yeah. So then Saturnine goes, by my count, Gorgon has slain 13, which puts Krakoa at 19-18. And war for weeks out.
That's amazing.
She's like, wait, what? So she yells at the White Sword. She's like, you have to finish this. They're going to win because of you.
Right. Because you sent this cannon fodder after this guy.
And the White Sword's like, oh, I was just waiting for you to grovel before me, War. So he stops it, and like, the 2 of them square off for a moment. I mean, Gorgon has nothing left. Like, he's bleeding to death.
And blind.
And blind. And the White Sword's like, I will kill you, and then I will conscript you into my army. And he's like, no one can control me. Like, Gorgon's like, no, that's not going to happen. He's like, I could force my will. And he's like, not over me. And he's like, okay.
I dare you. I freaking dare
No,
you.
the White Sword's like, dude, that's dope. I totally respect that. And he kills him. And then Apocalypse, who's standing there with like the mutant kids, they're not really kids because they're way younger mutants who are on Krakoa, but the younger of the group just goes, this is how a mutant dies, children. And I'm like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
With courage.
Right? So now it's a Racco 19, Krakoa 19.
Okay.
And the final fight is between Genesis and Apocalypse.
Yep.
Of course. It was going to come down to that every time. We all knew it was going to happen.
Hey, I'm just glad it wasn't against freaking the unbeatable.
Right?
one.
Iska? No, it had to be between those 2. It had to be them. On Krakoa, Scott and Jean are putting things together because, like, Charles keeps reaching out to Jean to be like, could you come here? We're having a quiet council meeting, and she's just ignoring him, and he's like, okay. Not cool.
You know, usually when I send a telepathic message, it's like, come on.
Come on. It used to be between my X-Men, and now you don't seem to care about that. So they have this really cool conversation. I'm only bringing it up because I love this interaction between them, because it's like Cyclops talking about how like they finally have a home and they have like a chance at real happiness, and that's all he wants to hang on to. And like listen, like, we got to go and we got to take care of this. He's like, for years we had nothing. We had like a hope and a prayer, basically. And like, we fought for that and we never would stop fighting. And Jean looks at him and goes like, I'm not sure what people expect then now that we actually have something to fight for. What do they think we're going to do then? And I'm like, oh, you're going to wreck everything to save this. Now you have something.
Yeah, now it's Phoenix.
You didn't have
anything.
No. Like, they had nothing and they fought tooth and nail for it. And now you're going to take something from them? No, you're not. They go to the Quiet Council and there's like a scene of like politics where they're talking about what they're going to do and like how they need to go over there and that like they're going to need to go through the gate to do that. And
I thought it was just going to be Jean and Scott just like slapping every member, being
No.
like, let's go.
No, like they're like, we have to go get our people back. And they're like, we can't do that because if we do that, essentially it's like we're forfeiting. But they're like, we're losing. We're losing and we have to go over there. And inevitably the council's not behind it. And like,
okay, but as far as they knew, Nathan said that they were losing badly, but they actually are now tied.
They don't know.
They don't even know.
They missed out on all of this. And a bunch of the council actually volunteers to go. Kitty volunteers to go. Kurt volunteers to go. But they're like, Kitty, we're going to take a gate. You can't go through it because she can't go through gates.
Oh, is that just a thing?
That's just a thing.
Okay.
And they decide, though, that if you decide to go and you're a member of the Quiet Council, you will lose your seat because we can't afford to lose our entire government to this.
So you're going to get like replaced?
You'll be replaced. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Right? Okay, that's fair.
Like, even if you come back, I'm sorry, you're no longer on the Quiet
So Jean's
Council.
like, then I'm out. I don't care. I'm out. I'm done. Kurt's like, me too. And they're like, Kurt, you're the heart of this council. You need to stay on this. Like, you're
Kurt's the heart of the council?
Well, he's like their conscience. He's like the Mati of the group.
Yeah.
He is like the only like normal person.
He's like, listen, I know the difference between right and wrong, and I have to do this. And like, while you guys are the council, like, I get it. You have to rule fairly, but like, I'm one of the captains, and I'm meant to be a hero for these people, so I had to fight for them. It's how I was raised. That's how I know this. And Xavier just goes, yes, it is.
Yeah, that's how I raised
Yeah,
you.
no, you're right. Yep. Mm-hmm. So they're basically...
You can't see it, but I'm tearing up under this mask.
Right? You can't see it.
Yep.
They're going to like get volunteers to go with them, because anyone else could go who isn't on the Quiet Council.
Right.
And like,
Like everybody.
Yeah, as they leave, like, they're like, we're going, and they call themselves the X-Men, and then they leave, and as they leave, Magneto just goes, good boy. It was like a test. What else is going on? Apocalypse and Genesis are fighting.
So is like Charles and Magneto and all them not going along with this plan? Like we didn't sanction this.
No,
I don't know why
yes
they
and
went
no,
over there.
but like they are also objectively thinking about the fact that they do have to have a government in place, and they do need to be able to have people here to prepare for if this fails.
Right. If we lose and the bad guys come through, we're gonna need to fight.
Yeah, we can't just...
I think they also say like they're closing all the gates, so they can't use the gates. And so Scott has to find another way to get there.
Okay.
Don't worry.
Oh, just another way to get to like an alternate universe.
Yep,
Okay.
Scott has a plan. It's totally cool.
Well, my face is a portal to another dimension, so...
Well, just go through my face.
Yeah.
Hop in, everyone.
It's just punches in here. It's nothing but kinetic punches.
Oh, that's horrible, huh?
Ah!
How do we get from here to the other world?
How do we get into the punch world?
Oh,
I
don't
didn't-
know.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
The Kool-Aid guy's there. The Hawaiian Punch guy's there. Genesis and Apocalypse have a dope fight in which like Genesis clearly like gets the drop on like Apocalypse, cuts his arm, and then shatters his blade.
Oh.
And she's like, will you yield? He's like, I won't yield to you. And then he like grabs her arm and takes the Twilight blade, which she's wielding because that was the sword of the Amenth people, and cuts her in the tummy
Oh, with her own sword.
with her own sword. And she's laying on the ground. She's like, just like end the shame and kill me. And he's like, shame? He's like, no. The shame would be me spending thousands of years and warring for you, or warring for thousands of years just for it to end like this. That would be the shame. And Apocalypse just looks at Saturn and is like, I don't want to do this. He's like, I don't want to do this anymore. Right. This is not fun.
This is
my
horrible
wife.
and barbaric.
Yeah, and she's like,
What's wrong with you?
She's like, this is how it has to go. You got to settle this. You have to end this.
Right.
And then the Annihilation helmet is like, put me on. And so Genesis puts on the helmet.
I was like,
and becomes Annihilation and heals her.
Oh.
So now he's got to fight Annihilation. But
oh
not
no,
only,
it's stage 2 of the boss.
not only fight Annihilation, but Annihilation just cheats and just brings a bunch of like Amenthi demons in. So now the Krakoan force is fighting hordes of demons.
Right.
Okay.
Saturnine,
We're a
this
little
is pretty
outnumbered.
not cool.
This is,
We're supposed to have an organized duel here.
Point of order.
White Tower, or White Knight, White Sword.
The White Sword.
The White Sword did bring in his undead guys. So
Yeah,
like,
but that was okay,
there's
I guess.
precedent for it.
So then, Storm brings in a storm and just hits Genesis with lightning.
So Storm ain't drunk anymore.
No, she got her powers back.
Cool.
It's how Storm got her groove back.
Nice.
She just hits her with as much lightning as she can, and then Wolverine and Brian Braddock grab Apocalypse and drag him away. He has a real problem with Brian touching him. He's like, unhand me, human. Get the hell out of here. And he's like, I'm not gonna run from my wife. Cypher's like, dude, I'd run from my wife. Have you seen her? And Apocalypse freaks out. He's like, you don't understand love. You don't get it. Storm's like, we got to get out of here. This storm ain't gonna last forever that I put up here. It's one of the only things keeping it back. The other guys are like, look at them running. We got to go hunt them for sport. It'll be fun. The White Sword is like, this isn't what I came for. I came for a duel.
Yeah, now it's all turned to chaos.
So he and his 100 leave. They're like, you people disgust me. Which, he's just like, that's not what we're all about. And so he leaves.
He doesn't even know what he's all about. He's gone crazy.
Well, yeah, but at least he has honor.
Yeah. It's like, I thought this was going to be something, and it is not that.
Yep.
And so I'm taking my toys and I'm going home.
Exactly.
Doesn't he know that the best things in life are to slay your enemies, to see them driven before you, and to hear the lamentations of the women?
Yeah. No.
No, not to him.
No, not at all.
So we're starting to see the cracks in the coalition.
Things are starting to fall apart on that side a little bit. Okay. Then Bay the Blood Moon makes a run for it. She kills a bunch of Amenthi demons, and she beelines it towards the Krakoans.
Oh, she's switching sides?
She's going after her husband.
She literally runs into them, starts fighting anyone near him, and he's like, whoa, 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 they're on our side. She just grabs Cypher and just makes a run for it.
Okay.
And they're like, okay, now we can't leave. Now, God damn it, Cypher. Yeah.
We need you for Krakoa.
We can't leave. All of Saturnine's forces show up, her priestesses, not only to protect her from the fight outside, but to protect her from the rain. You can't let that gorgeous hair get wet. Do you know how much went into that?
I imagine her hair wet would still be amazing.
Oh, yeah, no, she just looks hot then.
She flips it, sprays off, there's rainbows and shit.
Ooh, fierce. So she goes inside, and it's puzzle time and 1 o'clock for her. She takes the remnants of the Betsy Braddock bucket and dumps them on the floor. And with Shogo sitting there, she just starts to do this puzzle essentially, and her fish person Rill is like, it's
the time.
It's real bad out there.
Yeah.
She's
Are
like,
sure
yeah,
you
you guys better start getting the defenses up. We don't have a lot of time. She's just doing her thing. She's like, okay. I'm but a humble fish person.
I'm going to bring her back, but I'm going to bring her back a little ugly. I'm just going to switch 2 pieces so that the eyes are a little off.
But I love this because she's got a big glass. It's just she's also having quarantine time.
Yeah. Puzzles and wine.
The Krakoans are trying desperately to hold back the horrors because it's they need to leave, but they want to get Cypher back as well.
Right.
And that's when Jubilee shows up. Jubilee had been hanging outside of the camp with her dragon son Shogo, with the green priestesses. They're priestesses who serve the Citadel, but not Saturnine. They don't agree with her. But if the Citadel's under attack, they're there. Okay. And so Jubilee brings in the cavalry, and it's just a really cool moment for her. She just shows up, and they start fighting, except Jubilee's going to stick with them, and the priestesses are going to go towards the Citadel to help them. Mm-hmm. So they bail on the ground fight to go up top.
Right.
Bay and Cypher have a moment where he's like, listen, you got to put me down. I know this is weird and you're just trying to help me. I don't want to die and I don't want you to die. You should just come home with me because trust me, if I love you, they're going to love you. Mm-hmm. And so they kiss and she literally changes sides.
Wow.
Yay.
And then Iska's like, oh, look, there she is. Oh, how sad for you. Oh, you went over there? And Bay is like, you're embarrassing yourself, Iska, because you don't understand what love is. And I do now. So all seems lost. Annihilation is there. Literally, I love this circle of there's the demons around them.
Yeah.
And there's our guys. It's real bad for them.
It's real bad.
While this is happening, Saturnine has completed her puzzle because
Her Betsy puzzle.
all the Magistrix wanted to do was to reform the Captain Britain Corps. not only reform it, but reform it in the image of Brian Braddock. She's like, if you won't rightfully accept it, I'll force you to accept it. And so she tries to use a love spell, and the love spell is meant to be used in a time of desperation. And what could be more desperate than this moment? Unless it's like a fake moment of desperation, and this is truly out of desire and ego, wherein the spell will turn on you, and the image she puts back together is Betsy Braddock. And so the Captain Britain Corps is reformed in Betsy's image.
No, it wasn't
This
me
moment
like this.
of her clasping her mouth, I'm like, you got everything you deserve.
Wow. So she engineered this whole thing.
She didn't engineer it. She took advantage of the cards. This
she
was
saw
going to
it was gonna
happen.
happen.
She saw it would happen.
oh,
Yeah,
that
she's like,
was
I'm gonna make Captain Britain.
Yeah,
And it's all gonna work.
I'm gonna take care of a bunch of things. Like, I'm at kind of an actual problem for sure. I don't like what Apocalypse did. There's gonna be things set up for them. I can't stop that, but I can do something for me and give yourself a present every day.
Right.
So she tries to do that. She punches it. I love that. And then all these Captain Britons show up. And like, it's just so dope because it's like, as they're fighting outside, Brian Braddock's like, holy crap. And he looks up and he's like, look up. It's the Captain Britain Corps. And all these Betsy's from the multiverses show up. Is one of them a dragon? Yep. Is one of them a T-Rex? It is.
Oh my god.
There's a goose one and a frog one. There's like one that's a dude.
Sweet.
This is what you should cosplay as. You should be.
Giant purple bearded Betsy Braddock.
Yep.
That'd be cool.
And so the Captain Britain Corps joins the battle and helps to like turn the tide and starts like knocking down their foes a bit, right?
Okay.
But that's when Annihilation's like, okay, cool. You're bringing some guy. Listen, they already cheated and brought their guys. This is a response. So she's like, you can't respond to my response. Wait, I'm gonna respond to your response.
I'm
to
gonna
my
bring
response.
even more guys.
But you had a response, and we responded to your response. You can't double response.
Oh, I'm double responding.
Oh my god.
I might triple respond. So War sends out the beacon to cue the summoners to summon the beasts
Oh no.
of Amenth. So like all the Cthulhu's come through.
Okay.
It wasn't bad enough.
Nah, it's not bad enough. Genesis, Apocalypse, they're still fighting. Genesis is using her vine powers because she's Genesis. It's growth. It's birth, right?
That is just a sandworm.
Okay.
And we need to agree that that's just a sandworm.
Yeah, it kind of is.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
But listen, there's like too many teeth.
It's an homage. Well, this is just a Cthulhu.
It's just a
I mean,
Cthulhu.
yeah.
And they're like riding them. I'm like, okay.
Okay.
We're not.
Cool.
This is a
Yeah.
bad place. Cable is brought to Saturnine. He's still messed up, right?
I can't wait to see Scott come and see this image and be like, I've made a terrible
Okay, we
mistake.
shouldn't have done this. Scott is literally about to arrive. Jean, so during their like talk in the Quiet Council, Emma reached into Scott's mind and was like, do you want me to go? And he's like, I know you're not really asking that because there's no way that with this much money on the table you'd walk away, but I appreciate you pretending. And she's like, it's cool, I'll send the girls. So she sends the Stepford Cuckoos as well. So with the Cuckoos and Jean, they're able to break through Saturnine's like defense against like any sort of like psychic probing. And Scott reaches out to Cable and is like, I'm on my way, kiddo. Don't you worry. And then he reaches out, like as they're fighting, Magic's on the ground, and she's like swinging her sword, she's doing her thing, and all of a sudden, like Scott shows up in her head, and she's like, yeah.
That's distracting.
And she's like, oh hey, you finally showed up. He's like, yeah, sorry about the delay. Would you mind like kicking in the door for us? And she's like, it would be my pleasure. And she throws down her sword, and she opens up the biggest portal that she can from Limbo, and the entire peak comes through and just sits on top of the Starlight Citadel. And then
That's awesome.
Inside, like they basically have a conversation where they're like, this is smash and grab, people. We get down there, you kill as many as you can, but you get our people out of here.
Right.
And he's like, Gene, I'm gonna let you handle the rest. And then we get this dope image of everybody jumping out of like wherever, flying down with Jean Grey out front yelling, to me, my X-Men. And so
cool.
the true cavalry has arrived,
Right.
right? And so now we're on the ground. Everybody's fighting. And like, you don't know who's winning at this point.
Yeah.
But all that matters is this fight. Annihilation and Genesis. And inevitably, like Apocalypse is like, I don't, like, you gotta stop. You have to stop. And she pulls back. Genesis pulls back from Annihilation, is able to like talk on her own. And is like, you don't get it. Like, it's so hard to fight this. It's all I am at this point. And if I like completely surrender like to it, then I cannot yield. Because to yield is to lose, and Annihilation won't let that happen. Annihilation can't be beaten, so I cannot surrender to you. And he's like, that's so sad. You think surrender is loss. And so he just grabs her face, and he grabs the mask.
He just shakes it.
And he just shakes it. It's like, I love you so much. Just let me love you. And she's like, oh. And Annihilation bursts into rainbows, and they make out. And it's a really sloppy, gross sex scene.
That's
and everyone's
all I
like,
needed to
oh.
hear.
Yeah, in the middle of all of this death and carnage, just them going at it.
Yep. So he's like,
oh my God.
He's like
fighting.
He's like grappling with her.
They're fighting with their hips.
And then Annihilation is like, breaks away and is like, I am Annihilation. Summoners, bring everything. Everything! Thank you. And so worse monsters come through.
Yeah, even
There's
bigger
like always
monsters.
worse monsters.
Yeah.
Somehow.
Why didn't
My
you start with
goodness.
those monsters?
Why don't you start with those?
Because then I can't build up to it.
Right?
Yeah.
Cable is up with Saturnine and he's looking down on this now and he's like, could you, I can't make it down there on my own. Could you at least put me down there? Because if I'm going to die, I'd like to die with my family. And she's like, what card did you get? He's like, the Fool, okay? I'm the Fool. And
Thanks.
she's like, you are a fool if you think that sword that you wield is a sword and not something else. And he's like, I'm an idiot. So he like reaches out to his family and it's like, Mom, Dad, Magic, I need you to like meet me someplace. We need to go someplace. And they go back into the peak and they go to the Vescora gate and Cable boots up the peak. And then like it opens and like Jean's like, ready, Magic? And she opens another portal to Limbo. And now all the Vescora aliens come flying out.
Well, this is a lot to cleanse.
Yeah, here I go.
Okay.
Here I go cleansing again.
This is going to be some sweet overtime.
And so like they are literally laying waste. The problem is though, as real Saturnine's handmaiden points out, they're also breaking reality a little bit. But she's like, no, we gotta let it happen. You gotta let it happen. Trust me on this.
Sometimes you gotta break reality in order
To
to
fix it.
or
Annihilation
save it.
is like laying waste to the Vescora when Apocalypse jumps on her. And he grabs her face again and he rips the mask off.
Oh, damn.
And he's just like, "Argh!" There's like black lightning shooting off of it. And like, everyone stops. Even the monsters. They're all like,
Well, I mean,
what?
technically the mask was ripped off, so we don't know who to say.
what do we do? And you can see into the mask and there's like a scary face in there.
Oh, no, it's a scary
Is that what you
fire
see when you put it
face.
on?
I
You're
guess.
always looking at this face?
And then Apocalypse takes it and he puts it
it
on.
on.
And it's like, uh-oh. And he's like, I am remade, I am Apocalypse, and like over that is Annihilation's voice saying, I am Annihilation, the end of all things. And then the fighting continues.
Machinations!
And like they have a conversation, and like Genesis is like, whoever wears the mask like does the whole thing again, like controls the armies, blah blah blah. And he's like, he's fighting with it. And like Annihilation's like, no, you have to claim it. He's like, I don't have to claim it. Like she fought to win, but I don't care about winning. Now I care about my people. Pestilence and Famine notice that during the fight, Isca the Unbeaten stops and turns. And they're like,
Oh, shit.
oh no, we cannot win this. And so how does Apocalypse fix this? He stands there and he yells up at Saturnine, like, can you see me? And she's like, yeah, I can. Okay, cool. Then see clearly. And he kneels. I surrender.
Oh.
And so
As
Saturnine,
Apocalypse?
Saturnine jumps on Shogo the Dragon, rides down there, uses Shogo's Dragonfire, which can break through reality, sends the Vescora back where they came from to clear that up. I gotta get rid of that. I don't need that here anymore.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, after they cleanse the ground, they're probably going to try and cleanse the Citadel.
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
not
I
gonna
gotta
stop cleansing.
She also, I think, sends a few summoners and such places. You know what I mean? Like people get sent places.
Yeah.
And she shows up and she like goes to Apocalypse / Annihilation. Is like, are you sure? You sure you want to surrender? Is that what you'd like to do? And
Is that your final
Annihilation's like,
answer?
no,
Don't do it!
Apocalypse is like, yep, I'm in. She's like, cool, may I? And she easily takes the mask from him. And then like starts to reform it. And like the Annihilation's like, damn you witch. She's like, shh, be quiet.
Hey. Shush.
And like she offers to make it into a sword for the wielder, like to have. And she's like, no, we're done with swords for now. So she makes it into like a staff and then gives it to Genesis. And so she's like, okay, cool. So in terms of things, how they went, Otherworld actually is the winner. And aren't we great? But
wait. I don't see other world score on any of these little things.
She's like, it's my scorecard.
And I was keeping a secret scorecard.
Exactly. And Krakoa survives. So, because Arakko, like the Annihilation, which was the vassal of Arakko, yielded. Which I love because we showed that earlier when Wolverine fought for Solemn. And so just because it was Apocalypse, he was wielding the Annihilation mask. And so therefore he yielded on behalf of Arakko.
That's cool.
Yep. And then she's like, I'm a little troubled by something. And I love this moment because like Wolverine's standing there next to Storm. They are bloody and battered. And he's like, listen, like if there's something else you want, lady, there ain't much left in the tank.
I'm just saying I'm running on fumes.
She's like, I want one mutant from each land to swap. And like, Jean's like, a prisoner exchange? She's like, it's a sign of good faith.
Okay, but it's a prisoner exchange, though.
Yeah, and so she asked Genesis, who will you choose? And she's like, can I choose you, Apocalypse? And he's like, yep, of course you can. Like, I'm not the man that you knew before. And she's like, I see who you truly are. And then she uses the name he coined for himself. Like, for the first time. He uses, like,
symbol name?
Yeah, his symbol name. Like, she gets it now. She's like, I was wrong. Aww. You were the fittest of us. Look what you've done.
Yeah, it's not about just sheer strength.
Exactly. You also defeated the Annihilation Mask when I could not. Yeah, I'm like, oh, dope. And then they're like, and who will you pick, Krakoa? And like Cyclops is like, well, normally this would be a quiet council decision, but since it's a war thing, I guess it's... And as he's saying that, Apocalypse is like, I will choose.
Nah.
And he's like...
okay.
He's like, I pick Arakko.
Huh.
And Saturnine's like, well played. I didn't see that coming. Well played.
Oh.
All of Arakko will have to come through. Because that's not where they're going back to. When Genesis go back, she has to go back to Amenth to rule it. Someone must remain ruling Amenth, else those beasts go nuts.
But now Apocalypse gets to go with Amenth.
Gets to go
with
Genesis and their remaining kids.
Oh, they're a family.
Right? And so, like, she's like, as it would be, so shall whatever. Poof! And so we see them walking back, which is, like, very much like the image of earlier, just without death. And so at the end, like, Rill is like, Saturnine, did you see all of this? And she's like, well, we are talking about the multiverse after all, so there is a level of, like...
There's a fudge factor.
Yes, exactly. There's an amount of randomness that might happen here or there, but there were some symbols that were, like, you couldn't miss them, right? Like the fact that like a husband and wife would be reunited, like a mother and her child, that the 10th sword would descend from the heavens at the dawn of a new age. Because after this book, Sword, the series launches. Sword is brought back in.
Okay.
And we kind of see the fallout. Like you see Storm return the blade, not to T'Challa. He's not there. He's like, nope, I don't care about you anymore. You're dead to me.
No, I brought it back though.
No, come on.
I was right. It worked out.
Solemn sneaks through Avalon and goes into through the Krakoan gate. He's somewhere on Earth now. The Vescora and some of the summoners were sent into Blightspoke to try to make order to that realm.
Oh.
Because the Vescora are also like miners, like they can do all different things. So like she's like, we'll see how that works out, right?
Plus, they can totally create a brewery.
Right? Why not? And Death isn't dead.
Okay.
Oh. I guess.
He's like Rinsler now, I guess.
He's like...
but like...
You can't really kill Death.
Is he a vampire
Death?
I don't know. We don't see. So we
what would that even mean? Death to turn into a vampire. Vampires are dead.
Yeah. They are Death themselves. And
they are undeath.
And so, all of the kingdoms as well, know that Saturnine's still in charge, and the Captain Britain Corps, her loyal knights are back.
Right. Not the way she wanted, but...
They're all versions of Betsy, though,
They're all versions of Betsy.
Yep.
And as, literally they're having, a celebration. The realms are honoring Saturnine for all of her greatness.
Uh-huh.
And so,
and her omnipotence.
For, I guess, bringing peace back.
Yeah, and being dope.
Or omniscience, I should say.
Yeah, and, Rill is you've won. You got everything that you desired. And I love this last page. This was such a satisfying ending to me. Because it's she is Opaluna Saturnine, omniversal magistrix, the rightful ruler of Otherworld, the white light of both fair and foul kingdoms, and the eternal seat of the Starlight Citadel, who in her dominion had won everything she had ever needed, but not the one thing she truly wanted. And it's just her sitting here with confetti, and it just says, long may she reign. and she's just this sad, bitter woman. And I'm like, oh, you got everything you deserved.
Bitch.
Yeah.
Nice.
I love that. It's just such a perfect defeat of this character. It's one thing to punch her, it's one thing to do whatever, but to defeat her like this, to have the universe say no.
And for her to defeat herself.
It's just so satisfying.
Well, it's like...
So satisfying.
You can't make somebody love you, man.
Sorry, he's married, all right? Your time's over with him.
And if you were going to try to make him love, like, you did everything wrong.
Yeah,
Like,
you did it all wrong, honey.
You were a bad person.
You tried to manipulate him into it, and that was not going to work.
And so that is where Ten of Swords left us. Apocalypse has left. He's not come back. Arakko does come through. Krakoa and Arakko attempt to join, and they realize they don't know each other anymore.
Oh, so they get to have that phase of like, they get to learn each other again.
No, they're not
just
doing.
like, oh.
Krakoa's like into it, and then Arakko's kind of like, yeah, no, not so much. And so like they just remain two islands for now.
But aren't they supposed to be one entity?
Yeah, but like they became two entities with two different languages and two different rearings. If you think about it, Krakoa's been living on Earth, which has its fair share of shakeups and stuff like that, but it ain't where Arakko was.
Yeah.
So Arakko's very different.
Arakko's seen some shit.
Seen some shit. And in fact, they
Arakko's
say that
got a little bit of PTSD.
A little bit.
Yeah,
a
a little bit.
Krakoa is just going to be like, Arakko, it's not your fault.
It's okay.
It's not your fault, man. It's not
What
your fault.
What are you doing? I know what you're trying to do.
It's not your fault.
In fact, Arakko's language is even slightly different, and so they don't 100% understand each other. Cypher has to go and try to communicate. Yeah, like it's a mess.
Arakko says that you don't understand anything about what Arakko's been through.
And
well,
so
Krakoa says that that's pretty lame,
so
and maybe just get over it.
I'd like to go hang out with my wife.
This is the weirdest version of telephone I've ever played.
I don't understand. And so we left with Betsy shattered, and our Betsy Braddock gone.
Wait, our Betsy Braddock doesn't come back?
No.
Oh.
But she does.
Yeah.
She does.
But right now she's a mirror or a window or something.
She's a mosaic.
Yeah.
No, she comes back.
No, she's a puzzle.
It takes a lot, and she doesn't want to come back because she's like really disappointed in herself, and like it's a really cool like arc in Excalibur, but they do bring her back. And Gorgon, there's like in X Factor, there's like a couple of panels that talk about the fact that they ended up resurrecting Gorgon even though he died in Otherworld. He was different.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm like,
and not better. This is the multiverse, so different thing.
Yeah, and he was different. And in fact, when they talk about his swords, like his swords were brought back. Grasscutter and Godkiller were brought back. They carried them back through to Krakoa. And
Grasscutter?
Grasscutter.
What is he, Link?
I mean, you got to pay for his stuff somehow to get those rupees. And then they say like that they wait on Krakoa for their master to claim them, but after Corrupted Resurrection, will he claim them or reject them? And I'm like, oh, that's cool, because you don't know what iteration of Gorgon you'll get.
Okay.
So that's where they kind of left it, you know, like the council has started to break slightly. Saturday, like...
Well, there's all different people on it now, right?
No, the only person who left was Jean.
Oh.
Cyclops wasn't on the council.
Oh.
Cyclops is just a war captain.
Okay.
And so... he's gone and Apocalypse is gone because Apocalypse was on.
Right.
Oh,
so there's two empty seats. And so like she mentions that like it's the first cracks in the firmament. Yeah. And I'm like, oh no.
Yeah, because we got to replace him and we're not sure what's going on.
Oh no. Like
maybe they won't replace. Maybe they won't be able to agree on who to replace him.
Yeah.
Remain vacant.
Right. And like Sinister's already in Hellion. Sinister's already starting shit for us too. And now
I mean that's Sinister.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
you have to assume it's going to happen, but and now he's got that other DNA, so it's like who knows what he's going to be doing. And Magneto is going to factor heavily into the Hellfire Gala and the end of it.
Right.
In fact, they've hinted at the idea that there will be a trial of Magneto at the end. Something happens. So I'm like, it's all falling apart.
Yeah.
It's all falling apart, but this book is so good, and I know for a lot of people, this isn't what they thought it was going to be. There was a teaser image of all these individuals like standing there with swords, and like we're gonna get all these dope sword fights.
Sword fights. It's gonna be like a lot of sword fights.
It's gonna be nothing but sword fights. Like this was the image everyone saw.
Right.
Look at this image, right? That looks like Magneto. It's not. It's Captain Britain. There's like a 10th guy back there. We don't even use him.
He got forgotten.
Well, because one person had two.
Exactly. It's just the same person, but like holding their sword. It's like we took a picture and then had them move.
Gorgon just ran over there. Ugh.
There were sword fights, though. There was a lot of sword fights.
There were.
It just wasn't like everybody had a sword fight.
The fact was, people I think thought was actually going to be like, we've seen Contest of Champions before, but not quite like this. But you're dealing with someone like Saturnine, who's Saturnine, and she is
It's
doing...
not going to be straightforward.
It's not going to be straightforward.
Yeah.
She's doing the will of the cards, and the fact is she's looking to do one thing. The cards are doing something else. The reading is doing something else and establishing something else for Krakoa, for Racco, for mutants in general, and she wants Captain Britain Corps back. That's all she cares about. And like she's happy to make fools of them, knowing that at the end of the day, this is where the standing will be. It'll be 19-19, and then this will happen. It doesn't matter how we get there.
Right.
Like this is how it will go, though.
Yeah.
So I might as well make fools of them because to her, she's like, I mean, like whatever.
This is fun for me.
She's like, I don't care.
I helped to
Toying
take
with
care of the
people.
multiverse, and you think you're so special?
Yeah.
You think your realm is special?
Yeah. So I thought this book was great. There is a lot of stuff you got to get through to get to like that dinner, because once you hit the dinner sequence, it is so fast paced, in my opinion, because you're just like this, that, oh, what's happening?
Well, then you're not all over the place. You're mostly on the
other
hub,
world.
I guess.
Yeah, you're another world. But like that beginning part is necessary for most of them, because it's like you need the two Wolverine issues to understand who Solemn is, and you need to understand the bond that they have. Maybe less so the Wakandan issue, but it's a great issue because it like, you know, you get to see Storm go back again to being like, oh yeah, I used to be queen here, and that kind of didn't work out between us. But like, Shuri and like T'Challa's mom are like, maybe you can make it work.
Yeah, it's like in-laws. You're visiting.
Oh, damn it. That's not working. They're divorced.
I thought you were going to make it work, and you came
You
and
made it worse.
You took our sword.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for that.
Yeah. Well, it's like it cost something for Storm.
Yeah.
Like Storm did what she needed to do, but like she burned some bridges.
Exactly. And I mean,
Not
that
gonna
is
get
the
out
way
of
of
this
Storm.
unscathed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We, bring up the fact that it's like if something happens to Cypher, they're in a lot of trouble.
Right.
Now,
gonna make it hard
also,
to-
everyone clearly knows Warlock is still there. Like, they hadn't been doing such a hot job of hiding him anyway, but now everybody knows Warlock is around. And obviously, at least, there's no way Magneto and Charles didn't know, but obviously the Phalanx are always on their minds in terms of, like, a potential ending for them based on what we learned in, like, Hox and Pox and, like, potential futures.
Right.
So it's, like, it's fun. And, like, to me, it's also almost like a cautionary tale because there's a lot of things that Racco suffers through and does that makes me think of Krakoa. The white sword and his like constant resurrection and how it drove him mad.
Yep.
And how literally right now, as we're filming this, there is a book going on called The Way of X, in which Nightcrawler is exploring his religious beliefs because, as we know, he's Catholic Christian, right? And if you're that, but you've conquered death, can you still believe in that? And he's watching as like the younger mutants of Krakoa are like, they're like encouraging each other to die so that they have their first time being resurrected.
Oh.
And like it's very
Like that's part
upsetting
of
to
them.
him.
Oh, that's
And so
creepy.
like early on he had been like tasked with maybe forming a religion of Krakoa. And I'm like, oh, don't look what happened to that guy. What happened to that guy? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it may not be exactly those things, but like there's like these little like I'm like, oh, like is it a warning? The fact that it's like there's Amand with the Annihilation Helm and Professor X doesn't take off Cerebro.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just, I'm like, this is interesting. And I think there could be stuff here to ponder over. Does it give you a roadmap to the future of Hickman's X-Men? Probably not, but it is a fun thought exercise. It's a great book. It is an expensive book. It might be worth your while to pick up the trade digitally. I believe it's significantly less expensive, but it's easier than trying to track down all your floppies digitally speaking, because I did that for some of this reading, and that was a real pain in the ass to try to like, I'm like, wait, hang on. I got to get that, re-download this, blah, blah, blah.
And read them in order.
Yeah, but it is completely well worth it. I love this story. The art in it is great. All of the writers do a great job. There are so many writers who worked on this. So many writers who worked on this, and it's so cohesive.
And it works somehow.
works.
Yeah.
This doesn't feel like a long episode.
I
don't
know.
even know how long we were filming for, but like this moves.
It moves. It definitely moves. And I didn't go over everything. There's definitely some things you can dive more in depth into. I just wanted to get the general feel of it and hopefully encourage you guys to pick it up. We'll leave a link down in the description box below, probably in one of the first comments too, for you to get a copy of it somewhere. It's not even somewhere, you can get on Amazon or whatever. But I highly recommend it because it's just great. It's just such a great read. And like,
And Apocalypse leaves and finds his family.
he finds his family. And like for a lot of people that really bothered them because it seemed like the Apocalypse had been diminished. And I'm like, I feel like Apocalypse proved how strong he was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like he did the unthinkable, he surrendered, but he also like conquered the Annihilation Mask in terms of like using his wit and strength.
Right.
Like that's very him.
He got everything he wanted.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, ultimately.
You think strength is just like physical strength, but sometimes it's strength of will.
Yeah.
Strength of heart.
Go Planet.
Go Otherworld.
Like a more complex, like rich character.
Yeah, I think so
I feel
too.
like if you're really an Apocalypse fan, I would think you would like.
Yeah, this should build upon it.
And like, who knows how he'll come back from Amenth? When we'll see him next?
Well, it's interesting. Like, he conquered the Annihilation Mask, like, for now. But he did put it on.
Now
it's like, is that going to be like in him?
Like,
all that power
now it's a staff.
That Genesis hold.
Right.
Yes, and Saturnine says that like while the staff, you can't take away its corruptible nature. It's just physically impossible. That's what it is. I can make it more like controllable.
Right, you're not wearing it, so it's
that kind of helps.
Yeah,
that kind of helps.
You're not seeing into that fiery demon face all the time. That might help, not go crazy.
Exactly.
It does kind of whisper to you when you're sleeping, though.
Yeah, and now obviously Genesis pores, they're going to really open up. They get to breathe now. It's good all around. It's just good skincare.
Right.
It's just good skincare.
Oh yeah, you don't want to wear that thing day in day out.
No. Especially not with all that fire in there. That can't be good. That can't be good for you. But yeah, gorgeous art, great writing, really good story, totally worth a read. You may have to know a couple of things that have gone on around it, but hopefully we did a good enough job of explaining that to you. There's also just some great infographics in here which just tell you about it. I didn't talk about all of the realms. There's literally a paragraph about each of them. They're all very interesting, honestly. Like what goes on and like just these little stories, like these little like additional details. You don't need all of them. I mean, Seville, if you need to know that there was vampires in it, and it's fun to know that the Crooked Market is what Jim Jasper's runs because he comes from originally the Crooked World. So it's like a little wink and a nod. Wink and a nod.
How do they get what's-her-face out of the bell jar?
Redroot's still there.
Oh, so Cypher is literally translating between Araco and Krakoa.
Well, no one's allowed on Araco. At one point, Xavier and Magneto go over there, and like Xavier brings one of the Krakoan flowers to make a gate to make it easier, so they don't have to cross the body of water between them to get back and forth. And Iska's there, and she's like, "Oh, yeah, no. See, listen, we're all pretty battle hardened still, and we're not quite ready to make friends with people. Like that might take a while. Like we want to fight and battle, and we're all about the strongest and all that crap."
You can't just like take this away from us.
Yeah, and they're like, well, we were hoping we might be able to like form together and like make a nation because there are like way more mutants on Araco than Krakoa. So that's a problem.
Oh, really?
There's like way more mutants over there. So they're a little worried. And when they're about to leave, Iska goes, "Oh, and by the way, the next time you come over here, you might want to bring something more than hope and a flower. Because we're going to kick your asses."
Oh.
And Xavier's like, "Okay.
Should I leave the flower though? Do you want to? Can we keep it?
Do I plant this?
Yes.
Do we go? Yes.
See, at that point, I would just be like, I'm just gonna take this flower because I don't actually want a gate here to make it easier for you to get here because you're all hostile.
Yeah.
But
Not
Krakoa
cool.
controls who comes and goes through the gate.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
But they're all mutants, and any mutant can go through the gate.
Right. So like not with that like fine of control.
Maybe not then.
Yeah.
I would maybe like leave them over there for now.
You just stay over there until you calm down. You go to the corner until you think about what you've done.
So like what do like the governments of like
maybe
Earth
have a snack.
think about this like new threat that's arrived on the doorstep that the X-Men just
Fuck the governments of Earth.
So I think they are very much like, you have to deal with this, because there was an issue recently where like a couple of like I'm gonna say this because this is what it's written, but make sure I really pronounce that Iraqi, that's what they're called.
Okay.
Mutants end up on Earth in like a pub someplace, and they're causing a hard time, and so the X-Men or the mutants have to show up. I don't say X-Men because there's literally a little bit of info in here in which they're trying to get away from using the term X-Men, like the Krakoan government is. Well, because they're like,
that's only a small section of what we were.
No, the issue is that like that's used by a lot of people in like terms of like humans use it because they don't know the difference between like mutants and the X-Men team. And we don't want anyone on Krakoa thinking that other than the Quiet Council that anyone's better than anyone else. Like if you're an X-Men, there's like some sort of like prestige to it.
Yeah.
So we're trying to get rid of that.
Though. I mean, I was an X-Man and we were a baller.
That said, they're making a new X-Man team. All right, well, we're gonna end the episode now because we gotta go. We got the first battle.
I'm sorry, what?
It's you.
I only brought S words.
Well,
S words.
Well, you better hope you forge those into a sword.
Well, as we know, like the fight is not necessarily, a physical fight with swords.
It's
Maybe
true.
it'll be some sort of a Scrabble match or something.
Oh, that would be great for S words.
Yeah.
Cool.
Earth is doomed.
Ben.
Ben ruined it. We'll see you guys next time, if we're still here.
Who knows?
Bye. 2.5 hours.